Either I'm going crazy or the entire world is insane.
Two things can be true at once.
Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of the Cheap Seat Critics. I got
Yeah,
the
welcome
name
back to
right.
the podcast.
Are we?
Woo.
Oh, we're
Welcome
in
to
the
the
right
podcast.
place. Oh, good.
What a wonderful start for this season. Not so
I
bad
know.
season, but for the season.
Yes, we got a great season going right now. Oof,
Yeah, yeah,
great stuff. And even better to come, I imagine.
yeah.
We got.
I'm a geeky writer. Hello, everybody. I'm back once again for another season of a Chiefs Critic podcast.
I'm Curtis
Uh,
Maroon.
yeah. I'm a character called Sinister Boy.
And I'm Sprinks, and glad I was not left behind.
Yeah,
What
happy to hear,
You're in
buddy.
heaven right now? Are we all in heaven?
Heaven is a place without this movie.
Heaven
And
is a place
as,
on earth, I hear.
and as always, please feel free to follow us on our socials: Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, LetterBox. Feel free to leave comments on our YouTube videos. We like interacting in the community with the few scant bots that we've had. We would appreciate actual comments every now and again, and tell us how our opinions are terrible or agree with us. I don't know. Throw a surprise at us. We got you.
Why don't you like the color blue? Anything, really.
Anything, really. No, anything at all.
We are covering Left Behind, an awesome movie, one of Nicolas Cage's best, I'm sure we can agree upon. It'll be fun talking
Nope.
point.
Wow.
Oh,
Already
man.
dissension.
Just gonna smack that
Crazy.
one down, aren't we?
Not putting words in my mouth.
Honestly, the best Nicolas Cage movie is probably Into the Spider-Verse.
Coming
No.
from someone who hasn't seen National Treasure, I don't know
Oh,
how
I
much.
forgot about that. He hasn't seen that. Oh, one day, writer.
Oh, don't
I'll
worry.
watch
My
that.
introduction. Don't worry. My introduction to National Treasure is going to be the Disney Plus show.
No.
Gotta start it right.
No, don't ruin it for yourself. Give it a chance.
it's like starting with the Netflix live action Resident Evil show
No,
without
no,
ever
no, no,
playing
no.
any of the games or anything. You
No,
got to do
no,
it right.
Wait.
Good Punisher impersonation. So, the normal, I'll bring up our histories, if any. So, writer, what's your history with Left Behind?
So I've heard of Left Behind before. I used to be fairly religious. Um, and funny story, I started watching the other version of this movie, the older one, before I realized that Crimson meant the Nicolas Cage version of the movie. So I watched 30 minutes of the wrong movie before I went to the right one. And that is my history.
Was the older one looking to be better?
No.
Okay. My history. I saw this when how old was I? Probably 13 or so. It was on TV, and my dad clicked on it because it had Nicolas Cage in the credits. Watched it. Did not watch it again until we came up with this themed season of worst things we've watched. And this isn't the worst thing I've seen, but it's the worst thing I've seen that we have access to as a group. So bear that in mind going forward. This is not the worst thing I've seen. It's probably the fourth worst thing I've seen.
Oh, big
So
Martian.
yes, the other three were not accessible. So I've only seen it twice since I watched it for the podcast. And that's about it. Minister?
Yeah. I come into this. I had no idea this movie existed. Crimson told me about it, and I said, "Wow, it's a Nicolas Cage movie." And my second question was, "Is this a bad? It's good, like funny? Is it funny at least?" And he was like, "No, it's not even really funny." And I'm like, "Okay, well that fits the bill then. I guess I'll have to watch it." And I think he undersold it a little bit, but but it's yeah. This was my first time watching this movie, and I don't really think I need to watch it again. But it's now in my canon of Nicolas Cage movies.
We can watch it with drinks. That'd be fun.
It's true.
What would you drink to?
Oh, drinking game.
How many times the characters didn't know what was going on, even though it was obvious.
Yeah. There's a lot of things to do, dude. There's a bunch of different drinking games
Yeah,
you can do with this.
yeah,
Every time they cut to a different person, you'd black out
yeah.
by the end.
Every time they feign a jump scare for the daughter.
Every time the music doesn't fit the
Oh
ensuing action.
God, the music
Alright.
and Springs.
I knew about the title of this movie from, I don't know how to really call it, I guess looking up trivia of Nick Cage and just films he's done. So I knew this is a movie he's been in. That's it. I didn't even know what it looked like or what's about. I saw a trailer for it in theaters, I believe, back when it was like coming out, so like 2012, 2013. And it looked like a intense thriller mystery kind of movie. And then all the way till now, it never crossed my mind again. Watched it about 3 weeks back now, which is the only time I've seen it. And after I finished it, I watched the trailer again. Totally does not sell the point of the movie.
No,
Yeah,
you got baited, man. I'm sorry.
It probably pulled in a lot of people with the bait on that one, unless people knew of the older version of Left Behind or the books. And that's all the history I have on it, really.
Oh, I have one more thing. I got this
What?
movie confused with that alien one that he's in. You know, that has like the alien hand gripping the planet.
Signs?
No, not
No.
Signs.
Color Out of Space.
No,
Oh
I
God.
think it was.
That was a fun one.
I think it's Knowing. That might be the. I don't know.
That is one he's in. That might be
Yeah.
it.
I don't know.
I haven't seen it.
I just have this. I have this. I might be confusing that poster with a different poster, but well, I guess we'll cross that bridge at some point. But anyways, so yeah.
I'll throw out a little bit of facts. This had a $16 million budget and grossed $27 million.
Wow.
So
That trailer
odds are
really
they
worked.
didn't. I mean, they probably didn't get their money back with that much. Because this was theatrically released, so a good chunk of that was eaten by theater percentage, marketing, and all that. So I don't think they made their money back. Ashley Tisdale was going to be the daughter, and she got occupied, but they kept it open until the last second, and then they recast. So would have been interesting seeing Ashley Tisdale with Nicolas Cage.
I did get an Ashley Tisdale sort of vibe from the daughter, so I guess it still carried over.
And then this is from a book series of 16 books. So, writer, if you want a series to read up on, there you go.
16?
Yeah, bestsellers, apparently, according to Google.
I have a question.
Fuck.
Does this movie compile all 16 into one film, or is the film about one of the 16 books?
I believe it's on one.
Okay.
Probably the first one. It'd be weird if they started,
especially since how hollow this movie is. I would be shocked if this was more than one book.
Man, I can't wait for the other 15 movies to come out.
Well, we got the second one just coming out by the time this is airing, so probably still in theaters. But which is shocking in of itself that it got a sequel. What, almost 10 years? 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years later.
Yeah. With a whole different cast. And
it's probably all that Nicolas Cage reappraisal and everything. So.
Oh yeah, they won't be able to afford him now. But he is doing a lot of indie stuff still, even though he's big right now.
Yeah, he's got massive talent.
Weird guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got it. I got it.
Good job.
Yeah. And the last fact is Nicolas Cage's brother, Mark, was a huge fan of the books and heard that there was going to be a movie made and requested his brother to act in it, which is how Nicolas Cage became part of this movie, because his brother asked him to.
Okay, now, if you were Nicolas Cage and your brother asked you to do this movie, after having gone through this, would you still be friends with your brother after?
Would I still talk to him?
Yeah,
Yeah,
would you?
Uh,
You're like,
I treat
I
it
mean, I
as
guess
like
he
a
got.
gift.
Yeah, I guess he got paid. So
yeah, he was a Christmas gift for the next 10 years. Yeah, that's about that.
wild.
I mean, heck of a way to get into a movie. It's a favor.
I
Wow,
mean,
Sure, you
I
didn't
yeah.
get much money out of it.
I just briefly read the plot summary to the book. The book sounds actually pretty fucking metal. Like
I'm
like
sure
the
that.
like the Antichrist plays a part in the book, and he's out there killing people, and it's
Well, yeah.
okay.
I think that's the
I
next
think.
movie.
That's the
Yeah.
next movie, yeah.
Oh
Left
So
boy.
they
Behind,
probably
Rise of the Antichrist, I think is
they
what it's
probably
called.
like they probably toned it down for the first movie because they didn't want to scare a bunch of people off. When they
Made
could
a
have
bunch of
just
people
made.
atheists, but
Yeah, I mean, they could have just made Mandy or whatever. But whatever.
Oh, that's metal.
That is metal. That is probably the most. Like if somebody was like, "Hey, what's a metal movie?" I would say that movie. That is what I perceive as metal. Anyways, uh,
So, all right, with the structure of this one, we'll go with the popcorn. So we can go anywhere in the movie, any topic within the movie we want.
I feel like we'll be a bunch of sheeple and still start at the beginning. But let's see.
Well, might as well start
It would
Yeah.
fairly
probably be easier for me to compile
early.
my notes going in order than jump around and probably skip
Wait,
stuff.
wait. You take notes in order. You just don't like jump around.
I
Like,
see the future when I'm writing
Actually,
my notes.
yes, Sinister. After one scene, I skip ahead 10 minutes, watch that, then go back 7, and then yeah.
hey, some people read like the
That
last
would
page
be
of a book before they
interesting.
start.
That's true.
Ugh,
I
people do
think those people
Yeah.
are in writer's basement or something.
that. Tied up, not enjoying themselves.
oh, I don't keep them. I don't keep the stock in my house anymore.
Oh.
Stock. Hey,
uh, I'll start
okay.
with
Give us a synopsis. Somebody.
a synopsis. So a good chunk of the population, including all the kids, as far as we're aware, get snapped out of existence by Thanos and sent to heaven,
Okay.
and we are witnessing some of the repercussions of them disappearing and the panics of people. And
It's,
Nicolas Cage cheating on his wife.
it's kind of true.
He doesn't go all the way. Okay. It's emotional
No, but
cheating
he's
at
going
best.
to.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
It's
YouTube
planned.
concert.
Yeah, he's
what
got
a
the tickets.
weird
Well,
okay,
you
so
two's still around, right?
no. I was gonna say that's where a lot of that, like, what was it, $16 million had to go to just to be like, hey, can we say they're going to a U2 concert?
Do you want to be connected to this movie?
like, they're like, yeah, we would do.
yeah, is for the sake, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
for this assessment, should we all agree? Like, is God objectively real in this story?
Yeah.
As far as we can tell from this movie alone, yes.
Okay,
It could be aliens, but that might be revealed in a future book or movie.
that's true. So for now, we assume it's God. Okay.
God or something unexplainable. One
Yeah.
of those
I'll go
two.
with something unexplainable.
Yeah. They don't out and out
It's not an
say
answer.
it's, yeah, they don't out and out say which it is. It's highly referenced or, hinted that it's God, but
They're clearly trying to aim that with a
They want to
thematic
be God.
angle.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely aiming that way thematically. I don't know if they would have achieved enough to do that. So I can't even say it's objectively God that caused it.
Yeah.
But that's just because the themes are
Yeah.
falling in on
A lot of
themselves.
the religious people get sent up. Bible study or whatever is timed for when they vanished, whatever that means.
You gotta remember, it's important that not all religious people went out. The priest didn't, or the pastor,
But
Well, yeah,
whatever.
because
He didn't
he's a
believe.
bad man.
he
Yeah, he
didn't
didn't
believe his
believe.
He didn't
words.
believe.
Yeah.
Didn't practice what he preached.
I just assumed he was a Catholic.
Something. Yeah.
Ugh.
No, it's they do. I think it's purposely enough where if you watch it, you can see it that way, but also you kind of come in cold and kind of have your own I guess, version of it, so it wouldn't be like, oh, this is a religious movie, or this is. Even though I mean, I would say this is a religious movie, but
Yeah,
Oh, it
it definitely
100%
yeah,
qualifies.
I don't think they did it far enough on the other end where you could be like, oh, this is aliens. It's
Yeah, I'd
yeah.
say objectively, it isn't God. There's not enough to definitively give the answer, but we all know that's what they want out of it. That's what they're going for.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So,
now we got that out of the
Sprinks,
way.
I'll have you popcorn.
Sweet. I'll go to the first thing that caught my eye of a problem or something
Go
is
on.
that wonderfully fake family picture that gets picked up
Oh my
with
god.
I can't even tell if it's green screen background or something. Like the photo's not just a green screen, but it is photoshopped very badly, which
Oh
is
yeah.
odd. It just makes me think, were the four actors who were the family, were they not ever have the possibility to be together for a family photo?
Well, the wife never interacted with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. Oh, by the
Um,
way, Leah Thompson is the wife in this movie, and she's in it
Yeah.
for like 5 minutes.
If that's generous.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
But is her acting in this
So
better than Howard the Duck?
no, Howard Duck. She was way better than that. Also, a better movie.
Man, yeah, you just like
Thoughts from Crimson?
firing off. Yeah. Jeez.
I don't know. How many of you have seen Howard the Duck?
I have.
I haven't.
No,
You haven't?
I have not.
Oh, only two
Okay,
of us
well,
here.
there we go.
Okay, well,
you're getting a sneak peek
Sprinks,
at
do you
next
agree
season.
that Howard the Duck is better or worse? I guess
Whole movie
than
or
this movie?
simply Leah Thompson's acting?
Both.
I think Leah Thompson's acting is better in this movie. For the small amount she has, I think Howard the Duck is a better movie overall than this one.
Aiming really high.
I mean, it's
I think we
hard
should
one.
probably talk some semblance of characters, or at least
Yeah. Okay. Who are the
yeah.
characters in this movie?
Well, we have our main character. Well, I think
Well,
he's supposed to be our main character, Ray Steele, who's Nicolas Cage, his
like an
character.
action movie name.
Yeah. Uh, um, he's a pilot for your regular commercial
Actually,
flights.
do they say the
Um,
airline?
They do. I didn't write it down though.
Okay, damn it. It's probably freaking
FanCon Flight 27,
yeah.
something like that. I don't know. And we kind of already touched on it. He's cheating on his wife. His daughter's in town to visit the family. Um, they're to surprise her dad, but her dad is still leaving. Um,
Mhm.
and then they have a very religious mom and Ray's wife, and they have a younger sibling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Her brother. Yeah.
okay, so it is her brother.
Yeah. Because Nicolas Cage, his name is Ray, and the son's name is Raimi. Very creative.
I mean,
Yeah.
I just now got that. So
Well, they only say his name like twice.
no, they say it a bunch, but it's usually
Yeah.
screamed.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's true.
Chloe screams it a lot.
I was so confused when that happened. We'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so yeah, and then we have the flight attendant Patty, who's Ray is cheating on,
Or cheating
almost
with.
cheating on,
Yeah.
cheating with. And then we have I don't remember the journalist guy's name, so I'm just gonna call him
Buck.
journalist.
Buck.
His name is
Mr.
Buck.
Williams.
Buck Williams.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call him journalist because I don't
Okay,
want to.
yeah.
I don't want to tarnish the name of Buck because I like ODST.
Fair enough.
And anything
He's the
else?
calm guy.
Yeah.
He didn't
Yeah,
really
he's the con guy.
push the plot much. He's just the mediator, I guess, for the flight.
He's there to interact with the rest of the flight crew. Is what he's
Yeah.
there for.
Basically.
Uh,
And then basically like a bunch of background characters who kind of just fill up the space, I guess.
Characters.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, they
We
were
get the
in it.
lady who panics about her daughter disappearing. We get
Allison.
the from Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, panics about her daughter a lot in that one.
We get the little guy whose name I already forgot, and
It's
it was said before
I
this.
just know from Pirates.
Melvin.
Sorry,
Melvin.
Marty's Pirates.
Marty in Pirates of the Caribbean is in this movie.
Yeah, I said I'm gonna just refer to him as Marty from Pirates because that's how I know him. So
We get that religious guy, that guy who has problems with his daughter. We get the
And the
druggy lady who knows what's going on.
That's one of my favorite parts.
Am I missing
hardcore hungover.
The Asian inventor guy, or I think.
Oh,
is
the
Oh
crazy
yeah, the Defense
guy.
Department.
It's
Yeah.
aliens.
Yeah.
Tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
So great characters on this flight.
Oh, and the co-pilot.
Yeah.
There is,
co-pilot.
I think, in all the interactions with all the background characters and stuff, I think I only liked one interaction that I felt was actually kind of genuine. That was good. But that's just one scene out of the whole movie. So
Yeah.
it's
the
when
daughter talk probably.
Yeah, the daughter talk with the drug lady, as you so eloquently put her.
Listen, it's not our fault. They literally only say their names probably one time in this whole movie.
Actually,
Yeah,
had
it's
a
true.
note on that. Yeah, she said it's like a bad drug trip, and you know what fixes bad drug trips? Taking more drugs. She goes to the bathroom and does more.
I've never done drugs. I don't know. I might work.
I don't know. I don't know. But yeah. So that's basically all the pieces that we're playing with here.
Yeah.
And essentially, because the plot is thin.
This is probably one of the first movies, or one of the few movies I've seen that has an A and B plot. Because there's the plane, that's the A plot, and then there's the daughter on the ground, that's the B plot.
Yeah, the daughter just losing her damn mind over the course of who knows the time cycle in this movie. That's something that'll be touched on.
It's almost a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
The
daughter.
It reminds me of a scene in The Way of Water a bit, but throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. The daughter has. I don't want to say she lost her mind. I'd say the world lost its mind really quickly.
And she just accepted.
I don't know.
The society.
Well, she was just like, which we'll touch on, I guess, towards the end of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a weird. So it's I don't I think one of my big issues, and I think it's a big issue with the movie in and of itself, is tonal inconsistency. It doesn't really know what it wants to be. It kind of starts out like your family vacation movies or something. Like, oh, daughter's coming home from college for like a holiday or whatever, and it's like,
it's the Cranks movie.
Yeah, it gives that Cranks feel.
Yeah, like,
all three of us immediately thought of Cranks. That's funny.
Yes. And then like everybody's like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't stay. I gotta I got to call in, and then I gotta cheat on your mom. Classic Christmas with the Cranks.
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic. And then it goes into like, then as soon as everybody gets well, I hesitate to use the term raptured because they don't actually say. Well, they say rapture, but they don't say the people got raptured. They just say everybody disappears. So then it turns into like this weird. It's not really even a thriller because it's like it doesn't really feel like there's any
apocalyptic movie.
I guess apocalypse. Yeah, like apocalyptic movie. And then it's like a drama. But there's really no, I don't know. Like the stakes in this just don't really feel like they're really much of stakes, I guess, is the other issue, is that you never really feel like stuff's getting ramped up or.
Crimson, in your notes, did you list down, do you have what the genre was for the film?
Yeah, what is this? What is this?
A quick Google search will answer that right away.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll move on to something else. Wow, when he came up that escalator, boy, did he have the eye to spot his daughter in a crowd.
mean, I would have the
Uh,
eye to spot my children, so
His name is Ray Steel. Okay,
Yes.
if he can't spot his daughter in the crowd, I don't know who can.
I'm with you, Spriggs. I thought the same
He
thing.
was just fast.
He,
That's the
he,
thing. He
he
came
his
straight
eyes
up.
went straight
Yeah.
to her. He didn't scan the crowd. He was like,
yeah,
"Oh,
would
hey, daughter."
I definitely would have preferred him scanning the crowd. So I guess
I would have
there's
preferred
that.
him trying to
Also,
hide.
because he wasn't expecting her to be there,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's pretty quick.
What are you doing here?
It's an action thriller.
An
What
action
it's classified.
thriller.
It's Wikipedia
Okay.
says an apocalyptic thriller.
All right,
So take a
thriller is the through line, I guess.
Like apocalyptic would probably fit better than action.
Yeah.
even though there's really no I mean apocalypse is kind of just vaguely I guess thrown in. I don't know. It doesn't only maybe towards the end does this feel like an apocalypse is actually coming. Through the more of it just seems like
Mystery.
chaos, I guess, or
Convenience and chaos.
yeah.
We get looters and rioters.
Looters.
We get apocalyptic.
Yeah, we
reaction
get
stuff.
thieves on a moped.
Who steal a purse?
That was
Yeah.
stupid.
That was
Under a
so
bridge
dumb.
for some reason.
Yeah, that
Why
was
are
really
they
dumb.
down there? I don't know.
That was
I don't know. A lot of Chloe's stuff. Is that even my name? Yes, it is. Right. Chloe. Just felt unnecessary. That they had so much of her just running around the city, like, oh my god, apocalypse. Cut to the plane. Cut to Chloe. Oh my god, there's people. Cut to the plane. Oh my god, I need to go break into this place now.
well, Crimson. If the movie was an hour and 10 minutes, I think people would find a problem with the length. They had to add the
I
time.
think they would rejoice knowing
well.
that it would not be 2 hours long.
It definitely the halfway mark. It definitely felt like it was going a little bit. There wasn't really much of a plot to sustain a 2-hour movie.
No, not really.
Yeah.
And that's one of the main reasons why this is one of the worst movies I've seen, because
Number 4.
it is such a slog to get through.
I also have that
watching
in my
this
notes. Yeah.
for the podcast. I got up like 10 times, and then maybe even more. It took me like 4 hours to watch this movie. I had to
Good
keep
lord.
getting up to not watch it.
Yeah, and I watched it twice, so imagine how I feel.
Yeah, imagine how I will.
I mean, let's talk about the writing. I thought there was
Yeah.
I thought it was funny bad, a lot of the rioting stuff that was happening, because like the guy just kept ramming his car into the one girl. She's
Yeah.
screaming at him to stop. Then we had a car that just ran right through the mall, even though there's no one pressing down on the gas, because that's the person in the car who disappeared.
Well, his clothes were there, so his clothes weighed
Yeah,
down the gas pedal.
shoe. Yeah, he had
He was wearing steel-toed shoes, and they
Yeah.
just got weighted down on the pedal.
Yeah.
It's
That's
one
how
of
that
those.
would work.
Yeah. Let's see. So we got the shotgun rioter moment, which is a weird cut from
Yeah,
just
that's
playing.
that's a weird one. I don't know.
Yeah, going from an electric toothbrush to that was a little bit of a
No.
unnecessary jump.
No, that is
But
genius.
that's what we call true tension. Let's see what else. I don't understand why she needed to break into the hospital. I didn't quite understand that.
She
Also,
needed to check if the kids were okay for some
Yeah, but she
reason.
broke in. I don't understand why she had to
Or-
break in.
no,
Because the entrance was too busy.
she wasn't even
Yeah.
checking on the kids. She was trying to find her brother, which I don't know. My first thought, oh, somebody disappears in front of me.
Oh yeah,
They must
okay,
have been to the
I forgot it.
hospital.
You're right. That makes it even worse, because I was actually really lost up until my second watch through as to why she was there, because she was screaming her brother's name, and I
Yeah.
didn't connect the dots that she's at the hospital looking for her brother, because
Yeah.
it didn't make any fucking sense to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you and the rest of probably the world.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I listen. I'm not saying
but
like this.
what would you do
Yeah.
though? if your brother
See,
disappeared from your arms?
listen, hysterics only go so far. Okay,
I mean, if
yeah,
if I live in a world that got Thanos snapped,
mhm.
um, once I realize it happened to other people, my concern is not that she's gonna end up in the hospital. My concern is she's fucking disappeared.
Yeah. There's a yeah. It was like, I mean, I I know situationals, stuff. You never know how you're gonna react until you're in the situation. Da da da,
Mm.
all that stuff. But I do think there's a little bit of at least a little bit of logic in play to be like, oh, the person who I was hugging is now gone and their clothes are here. My first thought isn't, oh, they must be in the hospital.
That was
Yeah,
everybody else's first thought. 'Cause that place
Well,
was
yeah,
swamped.
apparently there was like
well,
500
I
other
mean,
people who were like, yeah,
There
a
were
lot of
people that
people,
were injured by being in
yeah.
cars and stuff, but
oh yeah,
it was a pretty
So
large crowd.
yeah, so like that
but
part, I mean, the hospital being crowded, that's fine to me.
yeah, I know that makes
I
sense.
gotta say that, the way she broke into the hospital, so that's got to be the gentlest sign tap to glass I've ever seen in my life.
Also, she just made a huge problem because now the hospital can get like broken into, or as people could just like run through there as soon as they like, oh, that side door is open. I guess I can go in and steal a bunch of drugs.
Yeah, that's why I don't understand why she didn't just go to the front door. It's just one of those another weird thing that happened. All right, I've talked a lot. I'm gonna
Well,
pass this off to someone else.
listen, that's why she didn't get up into heaven.
Well, writer, you want to touch on the writing, so makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah.
I'll point out when Ray had his talk with his daughter in the beginning, like sitting down, catching up before he had to go on his flight. Uh, Buck was sitting behind them the whole time after he said goodbye. So he's eavesdropping the whole time. That was really weird.
But you see, the cut is so clever. The director was so very proud that they just
Well, I thought it
expanded out
was
to show that he
I
was
thought it
there the
was
whole time.
fine. Like he got up, left. It's like, oh, talk to your dad, and he walks away. And then when Ray stands up to leave, he's right
He's there.
behind her.
Yeah.
Because Buck and Chloe have formed a connection already, so he wants to be there for her.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
was actually rooting for the not stewardess, I guess. Mr. Williams, please move, go, get
Mr.
out of
Williams,
here.
we're gonna take off without you.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Let's see.
That's
And
all in like
with
the first 10, 15 minutes. How much of the rest of this is
Buck
good?
and Chloe were really tight immediately in this.
They got
It's
together
like
really quickly, and
He
I'll say
kisses
that
her on the cheek uh, in the airport pretty quick.
yeah, I would say the dialogue tries to help this out, but I don't think they succeed because they
No.
definitely the dialogue is definitely like a mix between It feels like it's one step from being a good final draft, if that makes sense. Because it does feel a bit static and like cliche, the dialogue, but
Oh, really?
it's one, like I said, it's almost good. It's not. It's almost there. The problem is it's not good. So um,
uh,
that's one of the reasons why I was like I was very off about their, I guess, them really getting tight knit close together really quickly, because I would be okay with that if the dialogue was spot on. But because they, missed the mark with that, I did find that to be also very, very rushed. Like I was fine with them forming a connection, but they connected way deeply, way too fast.
yeah, I would
Uh,
agree.
what are you guys'
Oh,
history with Lifetime movies or Hallmark movies?
my mom has probably seen like most of them.
Sporadic.
When you
Uh,
say hall,
I
when you
don't
say
think we're.
Hallmark, you mean like just feel good movies?
Oh, like
Hallmark
Lifetime,
Channel, Lifetime
Lifetime.
stuff. Yeah, for TV movies, I guess.
Like all those, C-listed generic Christmas films.
Yes,
Like,
Not many
the
actually.
not
I don't
many.
prince,
think I
Okay.
have many.
the prince needs a wife for Christmas, or da 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 da.
Yeah, Christmas shoes, all that stuff.
Yeah, Christmas shoes.
That is one.
No, I know,
Uh,
but
uh, brought that up because I got real lifetime vibes from this movie. Not just from writing standpoint, but the camera work as well, and the lighting felt like a lifetime movie to me. It felt low budgets, uh, not creative, specifically with the camera work. Yeah, uh, Sprinks usually pay more attention to me. Were there any creative camera shots
Well,
in
where
this?
did that $16 million go? Yeah, no, there's plenty. There's a lot I caught. Where did you said popcorn, so let's jump to a camera shot that really just grinded my gears. At the very, very end,
Oh,
when he gets off the plane and he sees his daughter and they go in for the hug, it jump cuts because two extras walk in front of the camera. It was so off-putting that I don't understand why they didn't just do another take or change it somehow. It was so jarring.
because Nicolas Cage only does one take.
That's all he needs.
I think they. I
Uh,
think to be honest, I think they were just surprised they got such an A-list actor like Nicolas Cage.
There's a part that I think is in there for like 1.5 seconds of when Chloe is pushing stuff out of the way for the plane in the truck, and there's a camera shot that's like on a dumpster
yep.
getting
hmm
pushed back, and I'm like, oh, cool,
Yeah.
actual practical camera. Only time it's ever in the movie, which makes it feel way off, like a little experimental try of creativity that just
I see what you mean.
stands out from the rest.
Yeah, like if you're going to commit to having practical camera angles like that, you should do more than one, so it doesn't feel as
Yes,
okay.
off-putting.
Yeah, fair enough. That's a fair
They
criticism to make.
they
Yeah.
they told the camera guy, listen, we'll give you one shot that you can do on your own. You don't need us to tell you what to do.
Also, in my
He-
notes, I guess it was just a still shot to cut to, and I don't know why. I think it was after the phone call when Chloe's on top of the bridge.
Mhm.
It cuts to the moon
Oh yeah,
and then goes
yeah,
back
that
to
was
Ray.
so weird.
I was confused. Why did it show the moon? What was the point of having that? There's
There's
just these
either
weird
Symbology of
shots that are
heaven
thrown
and
in
what's
that are so
above.
weird.
it's weird, like because the moon can mean many different things. It means nerdy references for me. It also means a bunch of like in terms of religious stuff. That's I think they just want us to show the night sky, like the idea that that they're in the universe in heaven somewhere. That's the idea, but it's still a weird shot.
It was in a means of like a transition. It was odd.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a
The
couple examples for you, Crimson.
Thank you. The part on the bridge is when she's on top of it, or just on the road part.
I think when she's on top of it after the phone call and gets herself down,
Oh,
it cuts to a moon and then goes back to the plane.
yeah, because since we're on the bridge part, I'm gonna bring up the music because when we're up there with her, we get this like Christian rock almost esque song, uh,
What
and
is it
one
like
of the
up in
lines,
heaven?
yeah, tell me what it's like in heaven. Like, can you hit the nail on the head any harder? Uh, all the vocal soundtrack, I guess, in this, all just sounded like Christian rock
It was
or
all
I
just
from
mean,
the
yeah.
ish.
cheesy Lifetime music. It's one of those two. None of them really fit.
I agree. Nothing really fit. I think when she takes off on the bike, there's drums in the music that don't have like a rhythm or beat.
The same one when they're dodging, when he's dodging planes in the air.
Yeah,
Oh, that
that
was
Yeah.
one.
weird.
Yeah.
What is it? I think when the plane's taking off at the very beginning, the music is so triumphant. Like, oh my god, it was never possible for the plane to take off, and they did it. And I'm like, why is the music so intensely?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Because we successfully left the airport and the Chloe Buck talk.
Wow.
yeah,
We
they
managed to
did.
move on.
It sounded like
They
a
didn't
music like at
get
the
it.
part of a movie where everyone would stand up and start clapping.
Yeah, did you not?
No, I don't know why
I-
they didn't use that. If that music track is in the film, why didn't they use that when the plane landed? When it successfully landed and everyone was still alive on the plane.
Because it would detract from all the happiness, you know?
Yes,
You
because the
know?
ending wasn't about happiness. It was about seeing the world on fire.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
about suffering. That's
I mean, yeah, it's like, hey, look, wouldn't you rather be in heaven right now? This kind of sucks.
I'd like to
I don't
touch
know.
on. Oh,
You know how you could tell this movie didn't nail its themes well is that I think it made me more atheist, if that's at all possible.
Oh,
okay.
God is
Well,
supposed to
I don't know.
love all of us, but he left half of
Okay.
us to
mm,
die.
I don't know if
okay.
anyone else touched on this before. It was expressed, I guess, with the hospital scene of all the babies gone. Um, they have so many children throughout the whole
Yeah,
beginning of the film. They're everywhere. There's,
Oh
I
yeah,
think, more children in the airport than adults. There's children throughout the whole mall. There,
yeah.
there's just kids everywhere.
They're definitely doing it to illustrate, the before and after effect. But
yeah.
There's like 6 kids on the plane.
But
yeah,
the weird thing is like, I guess it's another issue. Like they never really, other than like two people, really. Well, three, I guess technically. Like we never really understand what the rules of this kind of disappearance are, really, because it's like, okay, kids are innocent, they get to go, but there seems to be very little like rhyme or reason for adults. Like it seems like, oh, if you have a Bible or a crucifix, you just get to
if you
leave.
believe,
I don't know. That's a weird. It's weird because it's like it's mostly, I will say, I think from the present day, it's mostly women and children, which kind of makes sense because it's, I guess there's a theme, there's a theme of like, oh, the plane's gonna crash, or da da da, women and children first kind of situation. But we only have this, I think we really only see like one, like two guys, I guess, really get taken up.
You see
Oh
the
yeah,
one
Um,
there's the
guy and
guy
the
next to Buck.
co-pilot.
the co-pilot and the air marshal, which
Oh, and the commercial.
yeah, so three. But they really only give credence to like the co-pilot, and nobody else kind of gets explained of like, and so it's just like easy, like, oh yeah, they just they believe in God or whatever. But I would have liked it to have been like a little bit more concrete. It's like, oh well, this or that. You know, I guess I am
Uh,
asking for a lot there.
so regarding the rules of this thing,
Yes, go.
Sprinks, you are probably the more qualified to answer, but
Oh boy.
if anyone's got a good answer, feel free.
Yeah.
What would be described as a child in terms of God? Because aren't we all God's children?
Oh snap.
Look, I'm gonna say this right now. I think it's safe for me to abstain from some
Okay.
questions.
Okay.
Just for the matter of fact that it's religious and could be a touchy subject. Um, and anything I say from the start to here on out is coming from my mouth, my words, my thoughts. So it's not set in stone, not set in vain. Believe what you
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
believe,
yeah.
so forth. I just got to put that out there, just to save my skin and our skin, just in case.
This okay, in the context of this movie, not in the
Yes,
context
yeah.
overall.
Well,
What yeah.
look. Some people could take it as either.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, I know. But,
okay, for the context
specifically
of this movie,
this movie, only using the rules presented in this movie.
I'm gonna say it was never stated in this film. No one really said we are all God's children. So I don't think that was a device used onto others, or like, why did this person get taken? Search your stuff for something that's connected to the Bible or Christianity in some way or form. They never said, oh, he was, at heart a child of God. That was never discussed. So I
Mhm.
think in this film, it was simply for age range of children, which I guess is, I don't know if 12 would be their oldest. I don't know if 13 counts as a child in this movie or
Yeah,
something. They
because I
didn't
think
really
like
give ages. We don't really know how old Raimi is.
yeah, we don't. It's true.
So I think every child shown
Okay.
is my best guess, either below the ages of 11 or 10.
Okay.
So that's my thought
Narrator,
on it.
what do you think?
I'm trying to. I found. I think it's age of 8.
Yeah.
I think it's the age of 8 is what qualifies as a child. It's been a while since I've rushed up on my Bible studies for obvious reasons.
Mm.
But if I remember correctly, I think it was 8. I don't. I don't remember the quotes and I don't remember the chapters. I'm guessing that's the because I'm thinking it's 10 and under, genuinely, but I don't know
Well, because at a
off the
certain
top.
point they become like a tween.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
Teen,
if you're
teen,
going
yeah, yeah.
from the Sunday school study, confirmation, youth, I don't know what the cutoff for child would be, if the indication of the word child kid is what's being used.
Yeah, yeah. It's
yeah.
just, you know, I think it's just because the babies get disappeared in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like most of probably I think Raimi's like the oldest kid that they show who gets vanished. And he's probably like 10,
Yeah.
10 or 11 maybe.
Yeah, I would not believe Raimi was 8.
Yeah. So that's, you know, fairly I guess. It's
All
just
right.
I didn't have a problem so much with the kids getting disappeared as I did like with I was like adults seems like that would be a grayer territory and they kind of don't really expand upon that one so much.
It looks like briefly looking at the
Yeah, the
internet,
video.
so
Yeah.
take grain of salt. It looks like it's between the ages of 8 and 13 is where I'm getting most of my results.
Okay.
Okay,
In
that fits
terms
what I
of
was
the
saying.
Bible, or just general consensus of what a kid
This
is?
is this is general consensus for in terms of the Bible.
I don't think the
A
Bible would go out and
lot of these
say
are like a lot of these are religious websites that are coming up.
take with that what you will.
Take with that what you will.
Well, I also had issue with the kid stuff, Sinister, because I don't think every kid is innocent. You know,
Well, yeah.
what if you have some crazy kid that just kills people?
I think that's
Do they
something.
get a ticket to heaven because
Oh,
they're
like
innocent
Carrie
kids?
or Firestarter, Stephen
Yeah.
I
King
mean,
kid.
there are some bad kids.
Well, yeah, but Carrie's not like a kid. That's
No,
a
she's a high
teenager.
schooler.
But yeah.
Something I think that I would have liked to see in the film that they didn't exactly touch on is someone who is in the gray area of someone who's like going to confession or for asking for
Well,
forgiveness of
that's
their sins and are still religious, rather than what is being shown as either like you're a
well,
sinful
yeah.
person or you're
Well, the closest
fully.
yeah, the closest thing to that would be the preacher in this movie. Is like the closest thing to like a gray area because technically I'm putting it in. Technically, does everything that you were technically supposed to do, but the caveat is he didn't believe the things he was saying.
But it didn't show the
So
preacher like
no,
trying or
no,
asking for forgiveness
that's
or anything. He's
that's
just like, oh, I accept what's happened.
well, he's like you got to ask for forgiveness. Uh, you know, you got to
How can I
ask. You
believe
know,
your words if you can't believe your own?
that was you know what? Any other movie that would have been a good turn of phrase, but in this one it
Yep,
was just kind
agreed.
of
After the pacing of what Chloe's going through,
yeah.
no.
I would have been like, ooh, burn. But
Something.
Yeah. So
Go
mhm.
ahead.
go ahead. All right. God in this movie
Mhm.
seemed very egotistical in the
The way
terms.
he's yes,
I'm
What
agreeing with you guys saying that it seems more belief based than whether you're a sinner or not a sinner.
yes.
Uh, so he only takes people that believe in him. That seems very egotistical of a god, um, to me, anyways.
yeah, you're not wrong. That's one of the many reasons I'm not particularly religious anymore.
Yeah.
Um not to get too far off topic in that because
Yeah, yeah,
we're
yeah.
here
That's
talking
a
about the
No, no,
whole
movie.
no, 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 no.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, no, I agree. God is an egotistical character in this movie. If we agree that God is objectively real for the sake of this film, then he's very egotistical in that he took only his followers, or the ones that not even all his followers, just the ones that truly believed in him. Because
yeah.
that preacher clearly helped people in like Chloe's mom, but
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
wasn't
that church
enough.
was empty. He
Yeah,
was the
that
only one that
wasn't.
didn't get taken.
Yeah, that was enough for like he was it wasn't like enough for God to give him reason to take him because he didn't truly believe, even though he helped others find their belief.
Mhm.
It's
Wolf in
yeah.
sheep's
So
It's a
I
it's a it's a weird message to send in this movie, I must say.
Also,
I
Crimson, was this taking place on a Sunday? Because if it
Oh
did, then
god.
it would make sense that the church was empty. If it's not, then who
Well,
knows how many
in
people
times
were
of
present?
crisis, people flock to churches. That's kind of a normal thing.
That's
Um,
true. Yeah.
So then
so
I think that would have been
even if
more
it's not
fitting
a
if
Sunday,
people.
there should be people here.
Oh, then I think people who weren't taken, the rioters or whatnot, those kind of types.
Everyone else has
They're too busy at the
better
hospital and
priorities.
rioting.
I guess so. Like
But I
it would have been
agree.
cool
There
to see
should
some
be
people like
people here.
praying or asking if they made the connection. Otherwise, everyone's kind of dumb and not making any thoughts rather than the people on the plane.
Yeah.
I don't even think
Well,
Chloe made the connection until she
no.
saw
No, she
like
did
her
not.
the shower at home.
That was a that that was a
There's so many weird scenes in this film.
yeah, that was one of
That was
them.
some kind of
I got to
weird tense that they tried.
yeah, I was like, "Oh, is somebody gonna be in there, like, trying to rob him or something?" And then, nope, nothing happened really with it.
Yeah, and
Craziness.
you couldn't hear the shower until they wanted you to hear the shower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Um. Something I'll touch on. Well, there was a quote earlier on in the movie where I think Ray says it is wacko. I like that word wacko.
Wacko.
I think he says that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
because of that line, my notes have stuff that say wacko in it. So my first one here is when they're in the plane. I think he says 6 minutes from New York to London. You know what? That's a real wacko
What
thing
Ray
to say.
said?
Someone, I think Ray or the
Yeah,
Ray said
someone said
6 hours.
No.
The
Okay.
alien guy said 6 minutes
Yeah,
with hyper speed or something.
Oh,
The
okay.
defense department guys like
Okay,
they're
yeah.
gonna green light this project.
Yeah, that guy said 6 minutes from New York to London. I'm like, that guy's a wacko. I really showed off him.
Hyperjet.
And then when Raimi is in the mall, he said there's an 80% off sale at GameStop. And I went, this kid's wacko too.
When has that ever happened?
Yeah, 80%. That's
I
no
want
profit.
I'll yeah.
Dude, go back to
Go in and buy
2014. Yeah.
all my dream games. Right
Well,
there.
afterwards, it was 100% off because everybody started looting
Oh,
everything.
yeah, that's true. He knew. He already knew.
Yeah, he knew.
He was ready.
He had the
He was,
shinning.
he was ready to grab his copy of the next
What if-
video game that came out.
Yeah, what if that wasn't a throwaway line? Maybe that was like because the mom was like, "Oh, I need to talk to you about today." Like she knew, and I think Ray was talking about like, "Oh, she knew this day would come." What if that was Raimi's way of saying, "We're 80%. We're almost there. It's gonna happen."
I hope not.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
God, please
stupid.
no.
Yeah, I hope the writers weren't didn't go that far.
Something else to touch on when Raimi disappears, clothes start falling from like above.
Sky.
Yeah, from the sky, and I went,
like it's just out
were
of nowhere.
people
Like,
leaning over the railing
Yeah.
that far? What was?
Yeah.
There was just a
watching
couple
those-
jumpers. So it's
Yeah, they were
alright.
watching those dancers.
I was actually looking to see because there's this. I mean, at least the closest thing I could think of is Las Vegas. There is a zip line like through like a shopping area.
Yeah.
I mean, like if there was a zip line where kids were on a zip line in the middle of the mall, like that would make sense of why there's fucking clothes falling
Well, that would
from a
have
from a
been one
skylight.
article of clothing. There was like 4.
Yeah.
I mean, there could have been
4 zip
workers
lines.
fixing the roof or painting the roof. You don't know.
Oh
there
yeah.
was a skylight.
Shoot, was that Michelangelo? Who did
Yeah.
the paint? Okay,
It's
then.
Sistine
Sistine
Chapel.
Chapel.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. Didn't expect that one.
Also something to touch on. Was every security guard religious? They all
Yeah.
got blipped.
Well, because they were good people.
Yes, security guards.
No, because they're believers. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with whether or not you're a good person.
See, that's the
All those
contradictory
people in
nature.
prison that are at what are they called? Turnabout Christians or whatever.
Oh, damn it.
Reformed prisoners.
Yeah,
They're in
reformed.
heaven.
Yeah.
I don't know. Seems the rules are a little shaky. There's another one that I could ask, but it would get to
Yeah, no,
no,
too
no.
much.
Yeah,
Focus on the movie.
things blew out of. I just went. There's no security guards. There's no. There's some people at the hospital.
It goes from
but-
0 to 100 really quickly.
Also, real
Yeah.
convenient that the biplane hit her car.
Oh God, I wrote how stupid it was that a plane just happened to hit her vehicle.
How do you think they filmed that? Do you think that was a model plane?
No.
Because wow, it was rigged on some kind of wires.
They really pushed the like the fill in for planes and like large vehicles, because the plane that Ray's in, for most of it, it's CGI or what, or like computer generated or whatever. Not great, by the way, but I can't tell if that's his 2014 or if it really was just that bad. But and then like one scene, I'm fucking like 95% sure they substituted in like a miniature for like one like 5 second like clip, and then
I
it's
could believe it.
back to CGI.
Yeah.
It's really odd.
I would like to draw everyone's attention to the hospital scene where Chloe is
Please,
walking through the empty children room.
Uh-huh.
That
Jump
lady just
scare.
appears there behind the curtains out of
Yeah,
thin air, like just
Terrifying.
to jump scare us.
yes,
Because you can clearly see no one is there in that same shot. So it's just
They're
this
all
movie
gone.
they're all gone.
All of them?
And
All of them.
Lee, I don't,
I'm glad there was an
I,
echo chamber in there.
this
Yeah,
I don't know, the makeup on this lady gave me
She's a
like
zombie.
Yeah.
yeah,
well, she's supposed to be like post
in
pregnancy.
deep mourning.
Yeah.
I guess
The
that
babe
kind of
is
brings up
gone.
that Infinity War blip questions, like the pregnant woman. Did the babies disappear in them?
That's
Okay,
what.
that was my question.
Yeah,
That
that's
would have been problematic. Do the babies disappear in the stomach, or do they not count yet?
I'm just gonna say I haven't a clue. It
Uh,
wasn't shown.
okay. Yeah, we're not.
That's a safe
not touching
answer
on
there.
that.
I didn't
I
bring
don't
it
know.
up.
We
It was never shown in the movie.
we have no idea.
No idea.
Yeah.
Not a pregnant woman in this movie, so we not confirm or deny that.
Who was it that said like they might be invisible?
Oh God.
Oh,
it the
Because I
the
think
yeah,
up
it was
to
the
that
religious
point,
guy. Yeah.
up to that point
Yeah.
in the movie, I think they have plenty of proof that they're not invisible.
Well, I think he means like ghost, ethereal.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
No,
I do find
no,
I do find
no.
it funny. I
That's
do find it funny that
yeah.
immediately Marty just goes to start pressing on the fucking
Yeah.
seat just to
Oh,
make sure.
Marty is like, I'll prove any theory you're
Yeah.
discussing, or I'll shut down anything.
Marty
Yeah.
was such a grouch.
Oh yeah,
Marty is a
Yeah,
grouch
he
in
was
this movie.
real grumpy.
which makes him a
Yeah.
standout character from the rest.
It's true. He doesn't have any of that Johnny Depp rum, unfortunately.
No.
This is what makes him a jolly man.
And
I guess he's
Ryder,
also
what?
blind.
Oh man, I was gonna say Ryder. What a transition for me to go into something about alcohol.
Oh boy.
So on the co-pilot's watch, it says John 3:16. In case anyone was curious, and these are just words to my knowledge of John 3:16, states that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believed in him would never die and have eternal life. Or the reason for John 3:16 on the watch could have been that was the co-pilot's favorite drink, which is cranberry pomegranate juice, splash of orange juice, pomegranate vodka on ice.
Is that
That would be
something you knew
accurate.
or you looked up?
Oh, that's a drink that my mom makes at parties, and I texted her asking what were the ingredients for a John 3:16.
She was like, "Are you making it?"
Oh, she didn't question. She just sent it over, and I went, "Awesome."
Yeah. Great. Um.
Back to
Yeah.
Marty. Yeah.
Martin. Yeah.
Martin. What was his
No.
name?
Well,
again?
his real name is Martin, but his name in the movie I believe
Marty?
is Melvin.
Melvin.
Marty's Pirates. Said
Oh, yeah.
this.
Get a
I
lot of
refer
Too
to
many
him.
N
I
names.
Yeah.
All right, Melvin. He had to have been blind for that lady to steal the gun from right
Well,
next to
okay,
him.
Oh, well, yeah.
Because okay, so when he's the air marshal who's sitting next to him is like a pile of clothes. You see the gun there, and it kills me that I didn't rewatch this because I knew this was an issue, and I can't remember if I'm correct anymore. Like they do the whole thing like 5 minutes later, like there's a 5 minute gap or whatever, and then they show it again, and it's gone. So at what point did that lady get a hold of the gun?
Well,
Yeah.
we don't know.
Yeah.
It just appeared in her hand.
Sometime between those
And
5 minutes.
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, I'm I'm more angry that like the journalist didn't grab it because it's a point
Well,
of
I didn't
concern.
know he was the air marshal.
I mean, there's a badge that's right there on his clothes as well.
Yeah,
Very
well,
conveniently
yeah.
placed, mind
And
you,
an
but
empty
it is.
holster by the time he looks at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
I wonder where that gun went.
I guess
But
he
yeah,
didn't
I
actually
have no
carry a
idea
gun.
how she took the gun because
Well, not
at that
even
point he was still sitting there.
not even just that, but like took the gun and was just holding on to it, like waiting for the moment, I guess, to like
Just bring the
flip
track.
out. Yeah, crazy. Should we expand on that a little bit? Because that's a big gripe in the movie.
Well, if she shot a gun in a pressurized cabin, I think a lot of people, that would have been the end for everyone.
Yeah,
With the
that would have
problems
been
that
the
the
end.
plane was already having, with the
Before
fuel
we
on
like tear
fire.
before we absolutely destroy the movie, because again, as we have,
haven't
Oh, we
Yeah.
haven't started yet?
I do have
We got
I
the
do
kid
have
gloves on.
yeah, I do have one minor praise to give it.
Come on, get
I
that out of
actually,
here.
yeah, I actually like the fact that Nicolas Cage's character like adjusts the cabin pressure to get everyone in their seats to calm them down. That was
Yeah,
nice bit
that
of
was smart.
that was a nice bit of intelligence on his part to to kind of get the crowd away from his cabin door. I liked that. One of the two things I think I liked in this movie.
I'll touch on I like Nick Cage acting. He acted pretty well.
It's
Good
a
actor.
very subdued performance by him, which is
Oh, compared to
odd.
other things, yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I especially found it odd. It wasn't even just that he was doing it because I have seen him do like subdued roles before, but it was odd because I feel like this is one where he could get away with sort of being kind of crazy, and he did just a straight straight through reading instead of even kind of doing any flourishes. So
To me, the acting from him wasn't that great. It seemed like he didn't want to be here to me the whole time he was acting. It seemed like low effort acting. to me.
yeah,
Oh, I didn't pick that up.
like well maybe
I mean,
now
it
you
was no
will.
Con Air, but
But what is? You
And
pick
that
that
is
just because it has an airplane in it,
yeah,
or
Nick Cage on a
was it?
plane. I said Con Air.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay. Well,
what
no,
else
I
was
know.
to say?
I was just,
Mandy? Or just,
I was, well, no, I was just curious if you like, just had because it was fitting. I was making sure you were you
yes.
credit God duty. You weren't just doing by accident.
The bunny stayed in the box the entire movie.
But yeah,
bun
so
it in the box.
I guess I could see the subduedness being, lazy or just kind of half-assed. But I think there was enough there where I could tell that he was trying, or just trying to not just give like you know a lazy performance just because he didn't really like the script,
I,
which
I think the
understandable.
I think the best actor was probably Buck in this. I think he
Probably
was
agree with that.
trying the
Yeah.
most. I think
Yeah,
and succeeding. Anyways, I'm sure they all tried to some degree.
Um,
Buck was very level-headed.
some would argue that was his point.
the actor for
Yes.
Buck, I
Only
would
point.
agree. Good acting. I would not say it was my favorite. Of the
Like
performances in
favorite
this movie.
character.
No,
Oh, favorite
performance of acting
performance.
in this movie. I would not say he was the best.
I like
Whose would be?
yeah, who was
Mine would be Nick Cage.
Oh, okay.
okay.
I think the beginning charismatic of him as the dad fit for his role, and then the more stoic he became was his thought process in trying to find a connection or a solution to an answer that would work of what the hell's going on.
Mhm.
Just trying to stay calm since he's the only pilot. If he went frantic or started panicking, he'd put everyone's life in jeopardy. Especially since he continually told like the stewardess and everything like stick to your training, go through what do you say, disaster scenarios, and we've been taught this. So I think that was also him just staying on the job.
No,
That's a
I
fair-
get all that, and I agree with that. But from what I could see of his acting, I got less. I'm trying to keep myself together, keep everyone alive, and more. Well, this was a favor.
Oh well,
Got to get the job done. That's what I got out of it, even before I found out that fact. It just seemed like low effort Nicolas Cage to me, but obviously a different
Rarity.
opinion on that one.
Rarity indeed.
Um, I also liked, I think her name was Hattie or Haiti, even though it's
Patty.
spelled with two T's. Hattie. Um, I liked her character once we found out she had no idea uh, that he had a wife and everything. 'Cause before that, I'm like, you homewrecker. He's a married man.
Yeah.
But he took his ring off in the car.
Yeah.
told his daughter
But
that. I always take my
he
ring
did.
off.
So once it was definitively shown she had no idea, I liked her more. She's probably after Buck, I guess, for me.
After Buck.
After Buck.
Oh, that reminds me of something. Do pilots have reserved parking?
um, they probably have to have some sort of parking where they can't get towed, since they're going to be
Yeah.
away from the airport for a while.
I was just curious on that because when he gives Chloe the keys, he says, "Oh, it's in the usual spot."
Yeah.
It makes sense to me that you'd have a spot.
Okay.
Yes,
spot.
they do. They do get free parking and stuff like that.
Well, I didn't know if there was like a reserved area for pilots.
Looking at yes, it looks
Yeah.
like they do.
Okay, that was just a
It's
question.
like there's like teachers parking at schools.
Well, teachers park anywhere.
There's some schools that have staff spots.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I think
Anyway,
the only
it was a huge problem in this film. We didn't specifically see the pilots have a spot.
It just looked like the top of a parking garage
Yeah.
because it was the open cover.
I think I always since you kind of talked about Nicolas Cage's acting, I actually think I'm more on Sprinks' side, Crimson, for that one. And it boils down to I think a very specific scene. It's uh when he's just like getting the revelation. He has this moment of where he goes through a bunch of different emotions like really, really quickly. And that to me is kind of what sold the concept of like the revelation. Like I don't the script didn't do its job, but the actor did, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think Buck had as much range as Nick Cage did in this one. From the beginning of the meet cute with Chloe, he was just smiling, but still like kind of quiet voice. And then with his camera on the plane, interviewing people, quiet voice. And then calming people down, like aim the gun at me, still quiet voice. There, it felt like the same acting with just different emotions.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Agree, there's
I
not
guess
much range.
the range for me, I guess with like I said, the scene to me that elevates Nicolas Cage's acting to him actually trying is the scene where Patty's in the cabin with him and he just finds the Bible study note in the other flight attendant's book, like they're on the schedule, and he has that moment of where he like he laughs, almost chokes up, and uh, it goes away in an instant. So it was that moment of where he went through several different facets of emotions really, really quickly. That to me kind of sold the reaction, I guess, because I this is where I would say the actor did his job. And like I said, I'm not a fan of the way how the script got us here, but I do appreciate, I guess, Nicolas Cage's attempt to try and salvage it.
And before Crimson goes into a rebuttal on that, I will say right now I gotta dip out for a little bit, and I will be back. Hopefully as soon as I can be.
All right.
Okay,
Okay.
if you got a
Uh,
rebuttal.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's. I think it's more opinion. Yeah.
Yeah,
Opinion based
there's not really
stuff.
an objective thing about this. It's just personal opinion. So
Yeah. So I don't have anything to rebuttal with. I do have a question regarding Buck. I guess
Go
with the
on.
two of you remaining, do you guys recognize him from anything?
Oh damn. He
I
definitely
knew this
felt
question.
familiar.
Yeah, exactly. He felt familiar. I have no idea where to place him though.
The first thing that came to my mind, because I think I might have seen him in a couple things, but it's he was the person Lindsay Lohan had a crush on in Freaky Friday, who then fell in love with her mom.
Oh, her mom as Lindsay.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you guys seen Freaky Friday?
I like when I was a kid. I think ironically and like yeah. Not ironic. Not I saw it ironically.
I haven't seen that, so I wouldn't know from that. But I am going to quickly look through
Well, that's
his
another one I need to write down.
Yeah.
Freaky Friday.
Let's just keep going. Yeah.
It is kind of impressive. Some of the ones that surprise me.
Oh, okay. I know where I know from. I know him from The Lone Ranger with Johnny Depp as the.
That's a movie I don't really remember.
Yeah, that's where I know him from, though.
If we ever had a season based on commercial flops, that'll be a contender.
That's been an idea.
Oh, and apparently he's an Agent Carter too. So there we go. Another thing I know from.
Apparently that guy had
I think he was an agent in that.
Apparently this guy had like one of the two really good careers to come out of this. Then I guess. I think I've seen that is it Chloe or Cass? I don't know.
Chloe the daughter.
Oh
yeah.
Chloe. I feel like I've seen her in something, but I don't know if
He's
I just
Riverdale.
Oh.
You should be ashamed that you didn't recognize him.
Oh, he's in Riverdale. I don't know where I know him from Riverdale though, because I don't remember. I tried to forget about that show.
And now it's back.
And now it's back. But
I guess I'll bring up the escalation on the plane, where we have an opposing plane that, out of all of the sky, managed to go directly towards our plane and nick at the wing and cause us to leak fuel. The part of the plane, I think he called it the elevator, which I guess is just something that allows the plane to get lift.
Yeah,
allows him to go up. Yeah,
that's busted. In the beginning, when Nicolas Cage is on board and doing the normal checkup of the plane, he's like, "Computers still have problems," and co-pilot's like, "Yeah, planes still have problems." Like, what? Anything else can go wrong with this plane? What's going on here?
That is a good point. Yeah.
Was it? Oh, I thought it was the tower that was having problems, not the plane.
The tower probably had problems too, but in the beginning he did say there were computer problems.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought they were referring more to the tower. Like it was just the haha. Have you fixed the computers in the tower yet?
Oh, did they say in the tower?
He was talking directly to the person in the tower at the time, which is why I thought it was like a kind of funny exchange.
I'm just thinking. I thought it was honestly. I think when I watched it,
I probably gave them too much credit. So yeah, you're probably right. They're referring to their own plane.
Yeah, the only reason I'm thinking that
reasons enough to ground it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the only reason I think it was the plane is just because like halfway through, or like when they start having issues, like the compute, like all the system stuff goes out for like a few minutes or something, and they can't even see like who's trying to get in the door or whatever, and then that goes back on magically later on.
Yeah,
so,
shoot, I just saw my notes.
He's Edgar from Riverdale. Got it.
There we go.
Where it is from. He's the cult leader.
Okay, that fits.
Spoilers. Right.
The show's been out for like 10 years. Come on, man.
Yeah.
There's a computer problem and the plane is outdated. Is what they said in the beginning.
And that's the kind of plane I want to be on.
Oh yeah.
So, airborne collision. I'm gonna talk about this. First off, what are the odds? Second off, I'm gonna tell you something. If for any reason either of you end up ever piloting anything, or any of our future listeners, listeners and watchers, sorry, my readers. There we go. How about that? Ever end up piloting something? It is easier to go with gravity than it is to climb.
I'm
So
gonna have to disagree because Nicolas Cage didn't do that. So, and he can't be wrong.
that's true. He climbed 1,000 feet to get hit by the plane,
Yeah,
which means which means if he stayed level where he was, the plane would just missed him.
Yeah, it's
I don't even know how it got on a collision course in the first place. Because the whole point of a tower telling where planes are supposed to go and map out, they
Okay, well,
wouldn't be that close to collide. And if the pilots disappeared and it just happened to go off course to hit another plane, is insane in of itself.
yeah, already the odds of this happening that's why it's like if God is objectively real, some of this can be explained away, but this is still problematic.
God set up for that plane to blow up and kill all the
Yeah,
passengers.
yeah.
yeah.
Pretty much, God is like, I'm gonna do a gamer move right here,
So
pro gamer move. Watch, everybody. All the
Everyone
angels
on
gather around.
Charlie 1581, you shall
Yeah,
all die. So
yeah.
everyone on Nicolas
so
Cage's
do
plane
you
feel good.
do you think like okay, in a court of law, Nicolas Cage killed like 100 people or something, right? Technically.
No, he
No.
wouldn't be legally held responsible for that.
Okay.
He was doing his job, especially since somehow his daughter got a recording of his voice, warning the plane that he was about to they were on a collision course. He's fine.
Yeah, okay. Still though, morally,
Yeah.
I guess is the other question. Legally, he's fine. Morally,
No, morally, the only one culpable here would be God.
okay, there we go.
I agree.
But yeah, so that's craziness. I don't know. I think I think the plane is the real hero of this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it handled that landing pretty well.
Okay, that was something I because the ending of this or kind of the last act or of this movie is a bit of a clusterfuck as far as like structure. So a lot going on, cutting back and forth is already kind of complicated.
Yeah.
What's do like what are they called? Um, those roller
Steamrollers?
steamrollers. Uh, do those actually move that slow, or did she just
Yeah.
not know how? Okay,
Yeah, they're pretty slow.
I'm guessing to keep even pressure
Yeah.
over the So, but I was
Uh,
did she not
it,
have to move that, or is she trying to get somewhere with? I was a little
well, she's
confused.
trying to get
Clear it.
everything off
Yeah.
the runway, which is already an issue to stack on where they're like, sorry, there's no room for you to land here at the airport.
Yeah,
Good
the
luck.
idea that I just find it funny that it's like the airport is closed. I'm like that. Okay, you're still gonna land a plane at the airport. Like they don't just because the airport equivalent is closed doesn't mean they don't take in other
They're
fucking
at
flights.
capacity, Ryder. Did you not hear him?
Yeah, listen, we got a bunch of down planes.
All right, okay. I'm still a little livid about this because the airports are designed to be very very big for a reason. So even if the gates are full, you can stack up planes and have people disembark
No,
outside of fucking
No,
their
no,
gate.
no,
no, no,
no,
no.
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 Control said they are at capacity.
And control, which has not been reached up until the last like
Look,
hour and a half of this
look,
movie.
I'm an American. I don't advocate for planes being flown into towers, but
Oh boy.
um,
Uh,
sorry, I gotta
uh,
make the
I,
dark joke here somewhere. Um,
I
but
guess.
I don't know. This tower needs a buzz. Is what I'm saying. Needs a flyby.
Yikes! But
Jeez.
that guy definitely needs to get fired for sure.
Well, yeah. If there was anybody left to fire him, he would definitely get fired.
I
No
mean,
room at the airport
assu-
for a
ass- ass-
landing. That's pretty
assu-
crazy.
assuming that again, I'm just gonna apply the Thanos snap rules
Yeah.
because I don't know what else rules to apply. So
Mhm.
assuming half the people on the Earth just got blipped,
Yeah.
you still should theoretically have half your staff. So even if by some fucking chance you don't have anyone who knows how to tow a plane, you got YouTube videos. The internet didn't go out. You got some tutorials to watch. Just get to work. You're like, you got to organize your shit, man.
Everyone that works at the airport were believers, except this one guy in control.
Yeah,
Just
he
like
was.
the
Well,
priest.
He's the Antichrist. That's gonna be the that's
You
gonna
know
be
what?
the
That
twist
could
of
be
the
the
next
twist for
movie.
the second. Yeah.
that was the whole. That was he lied to them that there wasn't an available gate. That was yeah. Why do you
Oh,
think he
that'd
was
be
the only one
awesome.
left?
I'll throw a compliment at the movie.
Oh.
The road in which Chloe clears
Mhm.
was shown in the beginning when she was driving
Right.
to her mom's house, I think.
Yeah.
When she was driving somewhere, she passed that road closed sign. So
So
they
Yeah,
laid the groundwork of her knowing that that road was closed.
yeah, that's true. There is a sign. There was a shot to show that sign of the road is closed.
Good job, movie.
Yeah, thumbs up. You did one thing right. I'm so proud of you. Well, technically, I guess that's three things.
you get a
You get
butterscotch.
you get head pats. There you go. You tried in some variants.
Yeah, man. Listen,
Wow.
it's hard. It's hard
Yeah.
to make a cohesive movie out of this stuff.
Do you guys have a compass app default on your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I do, and also I keep a compass on me in case my phone runs out
Oh,
of
I do.
battery because
I
I'm
do.
that much of a paranoid nerd.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, I don't have one default. You have to install it.
Hmm.
At least on my phone. Okay. I found that a little weird that you just had a compass app, and I didn't think it was a standard install for a
I
phone.
think it depends.
It's a
I think
standard install most days now, but even if it's not a standard install, it's still weird that people don't have it. Like that's on you. It's a very basic tool of
yeah,
navigation that you should have.
it's true. I think that everybody should have a compass.
I'm very proud of you for that one.
Nice
That is
pause there.
That wasn't. I will say that wasn't on purpose. That was my brain. My brain was thinking of that, and I was trying really hard not to do that,
true.
and I couldn't stop
I
it.
think you failed a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else do we got here to talk about? Uh, we should probably talk more in depth about the ladies' freak out.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. That one's
This to
yeah.
me, I think, was the most egregiously funny part of the movie when it's clearly not supposed to be funny.
I agree.
Because
This was the only funny part.
Yeah.
this was
Not the only one.
levels of hysteria that were like unbelievable.
You're all in on it. My husband paid you to kidnap my daughter, didn't he?
The plane landed while I was asleep, and you all fucking. Oh my
Listen,
god.
people say some crazy stuff when they're crazy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think she deserves to have that kid if she's this crazy, you know?
You know what? Her husband is right. Just gonna go on
Uh,
the limb.
With what I saw, I agree.
My
He
husband
already
is
thinks
right. I
I'm
am
crazy. I'm
crazy.
like, I
Yeah.
wonder fucking why.
Yeah. There's no reason.
He orchestrated this very complicated kidnapping.
All right. For the audience, to be clear, there is a room for hysteria and people reaching levels of like irrationality
Yes.
when they're pushed into stressful situations.
Hmm.
But this is this was egregious.
It took
I
it too
mean,
far.
it's easier for her, I guess, because I mean, she doesn't know all of them, so they're all I mean, that's what being on a plane
Yeah.
is. You're trapped in a bucket with a bunch of strangers, so it's very easy to, I guess, become more irrational in that sense. But this level of like, uh, it was just funny bad. I I don't even know how to begin diving into the specifics of the scene.
I think it's mostly just because I mean, because granted, there is a level where you can be like, if you hit like the right buttons at like the right time, you could get to like a level of yeah, like oh yeah, all these people around me orchestrated a kidnapping of my child and da da da. You know, that you could make an argument for the point of that.
Yeah,
I think
but
it's the
that requires
yeah.
setup.
Yeah, that requires setup. There has to be, because she just goes from, "Oh yes, sweetie, you don't stop bothering the people or whatever," and then after she's going like, "I'm gonna shoot every one of you if you don't tell me what's going on right now." It's like, man, literally other people than your kids disappeared. Whole grown-ups disappeared. If this was just for your for the loss of you, why would anybody else be gone? Crazy. But yeah, I mean, I was a little miffed by the fact that nobody jumped for the, hey, this is a pressurized cabin. If you shoot it, we're gonna lose all
Yeah,
our pressure.
I'm yeah.
No, there's
See
no
that that would
negotiating with crazy.
Well, that's true, but like nobody even said that because obviously she was like, okay, well, I'll kill myself and everybody else on here. It's like, okay, all right.
so all right. Guess you're not gonna see your daughter again.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, she's on here somewhere, and you'll kill her if you do. You
No,
don't
they
really want to.
stopped and took her while she was asleep.
Oh yeah, right. Why would they lie if they lied to her already? I don't know. There's a level of believability, and there's also a more of a level of disbelievability about that scenario. And we could go back and forth all day long about whether or not
She's too
that-
crazy. That's my stance.
she's
Yeah.
crazier than the guy who's 6 minutes to London.
Yes, I agree.
Maybe it's aliens, guys.
Mr. Hyperjet Alien Guy is more rational than her.
I love that dude.
What was I yes. Problems I had with the pilot. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not
Yeah.
normal to have a passenger enter the cockpit.
Post 9/11, yeah.
Oh yeah, this is post 9/11, so absolutely.
Because
I mean,
Buck
okay.
went in there to give the tickets before any of the crazy stuff happened.
The benefit of this is that the plane is landed, and you are absolutely allowed to talk to the pilots and stuff like that. And like, if you ask politely, the flight attendants absolutely will let you in just to show you around. But like, because you can do that, I don't anymore because I'm not a kid, and as a grown adult, that would be really weird if I did that. And I don't need those kind of looks. I look shady enough as it is with my beard. So.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Hey
Um,
man,
say you could just
can I see
pretend
the
to have.
pilot?
Okay, hey dude,
Yeah.
I want to see the pilot.
I
so
want to see him real
I-
bad.
there is a level of believability to that. But I agree that I think he would have talked to the flight attendants first. Like a quick interaction between him and Patty would have solved this. He's like, "Hey, I got something for Ray." He says him by name.
Yeah.
That would be, I think, hint enough.
Okay.
So, but yes, it is
Then-
a bit of a problem. There are workarounds, however, that we just don't see.
And my other problem was the fact that Nicolas Cage left the cockpit to reassure people in person after they were all storming at the door and he had to decompress to calm them.
I'm okay with this to a degree. He wants to just make sure that doesn't happen again because he doesn't want to keep depressurizing the private cabin or whatever. But I
I get the
respect-
rationality, but
like,
if he
I
gets it
respect it.
taken down, the plane goes down.
I mean, that's that would be. I'm surprised no one made that point. Like I'm like my if he had gone out there and made the point that his co-pilot disappeared as well, along with everyone else, that would have been something a little more to favor him. Because this made me like quote unquote Ray's character a little bit. The fact that he went out and was just upfront with everyone in a very blunt manner.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree that he should have covered the obvious point that my co-pilot's gone, so I'm it. I'm
I
your
don't know.
shot at getting
See,
to land.
I could also though see though that getting the response.
Oh my
like,
god, there's
god,
only
yeah,
one
yeah,
pilot.
there's only one pilot. Oh my god. Depending on how much irrationality you want to sprinkle into much more of this movie, but you know.
I think that would have been something to say once he clearly had their attention. Like after he, orders the guy to
Yeah,
sit down, and it's clear that he is the one taking charge, because he asserts his dominance pretty quickly,
as he should.
uh, as he should in that sense. So, like I said, there's room for that to be worked in. Um, again, I'm kind of, I guess I'm in the middle of the road on this one.
I mean,
It's
it's
a
one of the
character. It's
yeah,
something. It was logic that was sacrificed for the sake of a character facet because we didn't have opportunity to see it beforehand. So there's
yeah,
a give and a take with this choice that they made.
yeah. I mean, it's funny because like out of this, because it's kind of a little bit of a mess of a movie. I feel like the plane stuff is the kind of the only stuff that really interests me at all. And even I mean, even that's not that great, but it almost feels like that should have been more of the movie. If that like I find that more entertaining and more interesting
I
than
mean, a good writer would be able
yeah,
to write
yeah,
a very
oh,
contained story with on the plane. So you wouldn't
yeah,
have any of the on the ground stuff at all. They would just be lost. And then the only it would be kind of cool that the only window to everything else that we've had is the phone call that he gets from the tower in that brief conversation. Like, oh, so it is everywhere. Like
yeah,
that scene would be so much more impactful if this was a self-contained movie on the plane.
yeah. I agree. Plus, I got to say that the plane set does rock.
Mhm.
I'm sure that's where a lot of the budget went.
And I and
Yeah,
I'm with Crimson. I actually like Patty a lot. So
yeah, Patty's good. It's weird how they just kind of like towards like the last like 25% just kind of cut her character out of most anything.
yeah, it's a little weird. And she also lost the whole like necktie, the red necktie that I really liked as part of her costume. So
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. So I don't, yeah, I think like yeah, because my favorite parts of this are just like the plane stuff, and no offense to Chloe and all that, because I think you can make a decent movie out of that as well. But I think the two things together, it's just like doesn't really. It's too much of a juxtaposition of
yeah,
two
I mean,
separate.
it's very like well, the cuts between the both are also really jarring, which doesn't help.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you cut from like a moment of like they're really just trying to figure stuff out on the plane, and there's just like looting and, and pillaging going on the ground, and it's like, oh, okay, man, this
My
like, it was 0 to 100.
Yeah, my favorite cut in the film, because it's so bad, is the cut between the religious guy pulling out a toothbrush and a shotgun blast breaking through glass and killing somebody on Chloe. That to me is like the
That was
clearest
that was
like
genius.
jarring juxtaposition.
That I'm gonna put that in my
Yeah.
favorite cuts folder.
The whole toothbrush thing because they're making it like he was pulling out a weapon or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Eh,
obviously. That's what they were trying to go for.
this is also
And the
post 9/11, and that the one like Middle Eastern guy is obviously a terrorist.
well,
Of
he
course
brings
it's
that up a little bit, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they don't say that flat out, but everybody's like, "Oh, I know."
Um, but yeah, Melvin and the religious guy, they duke it out several times in this movie for some reason. It's
Yeah,
weird
and
that
some
those were the two that
yeah,
they decided to have a constant interaction with. A lot of the other passengers maybe get one interaction with another person, but those two had like three or four interactions.
yeah.
because
Which
they
is
knew where the
which
bread
is
and butter
kind
was.
yeah, like I would have preferred if the other if in quotes characters interacted with each other, because that's like I said, there is
You said one of your favorite things in this movie was an interaction between like two of the kind of quote unquote
yeah,
background characters.
yeah, it was the old man talking about his uh it was the daughter talk. So
Yeah,
it was the old man, and then the druggy lady that you I don't know her name either, so but we're gonna call her that.
yeah,
They have a brief conversation, uh telling they both tell each other kind of stories of when like
because they
he
yeah,
met her father, and how he
yeah,
had a plastic desk in a very, very fancy office for her to hang out with him. And he talks about how he hopes his daughter is not home when he gets there. Like that to me was I think, the most powerful moment of the film, and it illustrated what this movie could have been. Because one of my favorite concepts in storytelling is the idea that uh, the the concept of life after God. I'm just putting this as a theme, so
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
not what I'm saying the movie's going for. This is just as an idea,
Mhm.
as a concept, because I don't think the movie necessarily goes for this. But the idea of life after God, where faith doesn't, because faith is always an absentee thing philosophically. You're rarely rewarded for your faith directly in whatever you worship and stuff like that. So the concept of faith is that you believe in it to help manifest whatever you believe in.
Mhm.
So the idea that, like, in the aftermath of it, where God has clearly abandoned you in the concept of this story, you have two strangers comforting each other just because they can, and they happen to have some random minor connection. And that to me is very, very element that could be that's a very, very powerful storytelling element that
I agree.
could, like, in concept, elevate this story
Mm,
if it was more throughout. The idea of complete strangers having to band together because God abandoned them,
mm.
even
I
if it's
agree.
just to comfort each other.
Yeah.
It's a very, very
I
powerful message to send.
I think yeah, I think that is something that is because as I was watching this, because I have very few I had very few relations with this movie, other than it was just something that Crimson was like, hey, you want to watch this? And I'm like, oh, okay, sure. I was like, man, it feels like there's parts missing from this that could make this be more interesting or could make this like a little bit more fulfilling as far because I think we spent a good portion of the last few hours so kind of shitting on this movie. We've had some good stuff thrown in there, but I I think the concept behind this movie isn't in and of itself bad. I think you could, and we already brought up I think like two or three things that you could do with this movie with the same sort of concept, the same sort of ingredients, and make it either more interesting, more entertaining, or more fulfilling in some form or fashion.
Mhm.
I think it just comes down to how it just comes down to execution. I think at the end of the day, like do you want to potentially alienate some group of people by taking this on a certain direction, or do you want to try something new, that sort of thing. But I do think that taking the idea of like people after this sort of the left behinds, the leftovers, if you will, like taking that approach more than kind of because I mean, in the most basic terms, they do that in this film, but I don't think they really do anything to expand upon any of the characters beyond like Ray, Buck, and Chloe. Like pretty much everybody else just sort of gets the shaft, and it's just kind of like they're just there as background noise. But I think if you actually went through and like, okay, here we have a disgraced priest, or here we have like a businessman, and kind of going, because that's what I kind of thought the route they were going to go when they kind of expositioned everybody, like, oh, that's a greedy businessman, that's a greedy a money better guy or whatever, and so that they're not obviously going to get taken up. But like, what do you do with those people who are after the fact who realize, oh, I'm left behind, and now and probably everybody I know is gone or something. So I think there's decent story elements in this movie that could make it. You could make this same movie better with the same ingredients. I think it just comes down to how much you're willing to put into it and how much you're willing to get out of it at the end of the day.
And now
Mhm.
we need to watch the second one where we get the aftermath of
Yeah.
this and how these people really deal with the situation.
Yeah.
Uh, in regards to how this could have been better, um, writer, I think you'll probably agree with me on this. Doctor Who episode Midnight. Uh,
Oh.
kind of similar scenario. A group of people stuck in a vehicle. I think they're on a train in that one of sorts, but playing here. But we get a lot more character interaction in that one, all focused on the fear of the unknown, um, based off a alien on board. But in here, the unknown to the people, anyways, is what happened, and they could have really increased character interactions if we cut out a lot of the Chloe stuff, because the Chloe stuff is a lot of the same thing. Oh, I'm going here. There's carnage. Oh, I'm going here. There's carnage. A lot of the same thing being shown. So if they cut out a lot of that and focused on character interactions on the plane, I think this definitely would have boosted the movie's quality.
Yeah.
Sounds like I
'Cause-
gotta watch
yeah.
that episode of Doctor Who.
It's one of the best.
Yeah.
I think.
Welcome back, Sprinks.
A lot of people regard that as one of David Tennant's best, I think.
Yeah.
That's why they brought him back for this.
Oh, David
this new
Tennant,
season.
even better.
Yeah.
No, it's not the bald guy or
Or Matt
Matt
Smith.
Smith. I don't have any problem with Matt Smith.
Or the Jelly Baby guy.
I like the Jelly Baby guy. Don't say anything bad about the Jelly Baby guy.
Doctor number 4.
I missed anything important?
Tom Baker.
Just most of the movie, I guess.
Okay. We talked about in concept of like what the movie missed its mark on, because I'll bring up my point, which was the talk between the two strangers, like the druggie and the old man, regarding their small connection, and the concept of two strangers comforting each other in the situation is one of the few things I praise about the movie, because it's one of the things where I think the concept at the core of this movie could be used to actually make something great out of it. And then we also talked about the crazy lady pointing her gun at the crew because they were all in on it.
And the gun at me.
Yeah. So, I figured out where I know Buck from in Riverdale Springs.
He's in Riverdale?
He's Edgar.
That's Edgar Ebenever?
Yes.
Oh,
that's
no.
Edgar. Buck is Edgar.
No. Wow. That's incredible. Wow. Better acting in Riverdale.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Wow. That's mind blowing.
Yeah, I knew him from Freaky Friday. Lindsay Lohan's crush.
Oh, he's that guy too?
Yeah,
oh
exactly.
my gosh. This is crazy. You're right. That is him too.
You didn't recognize this guy anywhere?
No. Oh, he's both of those people. Oh my gosh. Maybe I just gotta look up his repertoire. See what else is gonna blow my mind.
Yeah, I knew him from The Lone Ranger with Johnny Depp.
I think he's also in Cinderella Story, one of them.
He's in The Lone Ranger?
Oh, you didn't want to peek that one, huh?
And we're blown. Sprinks of mind.
I've seen Lone Ranger once. The Johnny Depp one.
No, I'm like, oh yeah, I know him from The Lone Ranger, and then I saw Riverdale as a part of his repertoire. I'm like, oh no.
He's got 3 first names as his full name.
That's my luck.
Chad
He's
Michael Murray.
Oh man. Wow, that's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And he's Agent Carter, Gilmore Girls, Dawson's Creek, Cinderella Story.
If you got anything, Sprinks.
Has anyone touched
Even
on
if it's something we covered,
the day-night
cycle? Still like to know your thoughts on something.
Oh, we didn't cover the day-night cycle, so that's all you.
Okay, so they're a plane from New York going to London, and it's mostly nighttime on the plane, where Chloe is daytime when he left. Doesn't the sun rise in the east and set in the west? So how is it nighttime heading east?
You would be correct, yes.
And then they turn around and come back and it's still nighttime, when then it shows the moon. I guess Chloe's
only 3 hours had passed.
Yeah, Chloe's is starting to become night, but the whole time the plane's gone, it's nighttime.
Yeah. I'm not sure what daytime rules apply here. I don't know what God is doing with the sun, but he's doing something.
What state did they take off from again?
New York,
I think JFK is New York. Yeah.
Pretty sure. Because they landed at JFK, so that would be New York, yeah.
Yeah, I can't explain it. Good catch. I
Pretty
agree. It was
dumb.
God's doing. I'm
It
sure it
it
wasn't
was just so off
continuity
to me
errors.
that
It's always
they
darkest before the dawn.
left, and it was like morning when they met up, and then he's on the
Uh-huh.
plane, and it's like nighttime on the plane, and then every time it kept going back to Chloe, it's like the middle of the day.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
really, I was just like confused.
Oh, you
he's
know,
going
maybe
above.
the alien guy was right. They're stuck in a time dilation of some kind,
It could
and
be that episode of Twilight Zone where they go back to like prehistoric time in the plane.
Well, actually, Chloe's in a different time zone than he is.
it
No,
travels between dimensions.
no, I was like the. Well, he goes. Let's see. They fly above the
Well,
clouds, and as we all
actually,
know, when you
hey,
fly above the clouds,
no, I get it.
you
No,
go out of time.
I
Yes.
understand
Yeah.
now. There are two
Yeah. Yeah.
suns in this world. There's the
Yes.
Son of Earth and the Son of God, and it's
Ugh.
showing.
Oh. Oh. I think you're gonna get muted. All right.
Oh, that's funny. That was good.
Anyway, yes, the
Oh.
day and night cycle. Wow, that was. I think I touched on it way back before I left about. It reminded me of the Way of Water and the whole night sight
Yeah.
sequence in that part of the movie.
It
But
doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't exist. Yeah.
this was like 80% of the movie.
I think my whole body just got a Charlie horse. Ugh.
Oh, well.
Yeah, at least with Avatar, it could potentially be explained
It's an
away
alien. Yeah. It's an alien planet.
because we don't know what other planets or moons are in the atmosphere to cause eclipses. But in
Yeah.
here,
But
it's
Earth,
pretty
Earth.
fucking
right?
obvious that it's
Yeah.
a problem.
I have the part where there's an explosion on the makeshift runway that Chloe creates, and it shows off like the explosion first with some pretty good looking slow mo, and then it cuts to uh, like a front shot of Chloe, and the slow motion went terrible. Like the
That
frame
was
rate
okay.
just
That
gets bad.
continues through. That continues through that scene too, because it's a scene where after the plane's landed, she's running towards the plane. The explosion happens, and she looks like it's in the frame with
Also,
her. It's in the same shot,
okay.
and then it was very good CG. It was very good slow mo then, and then it did the weird like cut
I
frames for slow mo when it focused specifically on her quickly
I
looking at the explosion.
Go,
I wanna talk about something in that scene.
go ahead.
Because it reminded me of another movie that has a similar scene in it that I like that movie, but that one scene almost ruined the movie for me because it was something that it's it's a famous critique I think for a lot of movies. If something is coming towards you and it's only going one way, you
They went to
don't.
the Prometheus school of running away from things.
Yes,
Got it.
Yes.
so that's the movie I'm talking about. Yes. She drives forward on the track and then goes off into the gets hit something, she's stuck. She doesn't get out of the car. She just stays there. I mean, granted, I know, like, okay, you want to drive on the road because you know it's going to be flat and you're not going to hit something or whatever, and it's dark. Okay, fair enough. But it's a truck, so it should have some form of all-terrain movement. So it's actually safer probably to go off-road than on-road in this situation.
But it's
There
so
we go.
okay because Nicolas Cage is able to pop a
Yeah,
wheel up.
yeah, because he breaks both wheels by hitting a pole.
uh, that I had issues with this whole landing where the it clips the power lines,
Yeah, so
or it
it
nearly
breaks.
does. I don't
Yeah,
remember one too, and he wasn't even close to the ground yet. Those power lines would be so freaking tall to have touched when they did.
Well,
They were doing the orbital elevators
the
from
power
Halo. I thought they were
lines,
Yeah,
the power
the
lines
power
didn't need
line.
to be a problem since it was shown in a way that there isn't a single reception tower within miles and miles of
Yeah.
anywhere.
Well, no, they had their phones turned off.
Oh, that's why Chloe and Ray kept losing signal.
I guess.
I'm like, the
Oh,
satellites,
rough-
who knows? Who knows about
Satellite
satellites?
phones.
But maybe
Yeah.
every single non-driving car that had someone's steel toe boot on the on the gas pedal, knocked over every reception tower, possibly.
And also it gets even worse too because it's a very bad green screen shot, but they actually show us shots from the cockpit, the view of which they're trying to land.
Yeah.
You don't see the power lines there.
No, I don't think any of you have seen this movie, but to me, it just reminded me when he's like, "Oh, I need a sign of where to land." It reminded me just a worse scene of Flight of the Navigator.
Oh, God.
Don't think any of you have seen that.
Long time ago.
And if any of you know to memory, you may be able to connect the dots and what I'm trying to match up here. But man, it was bad.
In regards, did you have more?
I just had a little thing to jump to, but if you want to touch more,
It's going to
on that,
continue this a little bit.
Yeah.
On the phone calls dropping, it just shows that Chloe doesn't like Buck because every time he calls, it doesn't work. But every single time she called him, it came through. So it was just her ignoring his calls the whole time, essentially. That's all I have to read out.
Well, and also like the
Because
mom.
every time she called, it worked.
Okay.
Well, and
no,
also when Ray called, it went through to his wife every single time.
Yeah. So I honestly thought that was so inconsistent because Ray didn't even make the phone call about the whole play about the plane about to get a mid-air collision, but somehow that still reached the phone. So I honestly, the signals dropping in and out on a whim, I just chalked it up to God, like the concept of God in this universe. No, because if God is objectively real, He's clearly fucking with them.
Dude, that's my kind of God right there.
So is it God of Christianity or is it just Loki the whole time?
See, that's the
don't
thing.
know.
If you died in this universe and you end up in the
since-
Norse pantheon or the Greek pantheon, it
So
would make fucking sense.
I think because there's two Middle Eastern guys on the plane, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of them disappears, and the other one's still there. And so either they're just Middle Eastern and they're Christian, not saying that's impossible. That's a possibility. But if they're both Middle Eastern and they both have, I don't. I'm going to be honest, because they don't say what part they're from. I don't know which, of the gods they would be worshiping or whatever.
Okay, so
But let's just
Okay, so I'll actually explain this. Islam is
yeah.
not that different from Christianity.
Okay.
The only difference is in Islam, Jesus is a prophet, not the son of God.
Yeah.
That is the key difference. So to them, they are worshiping the same God in that religion.
Okay. All right. Never
It's
mind.
just yeah.
Okay. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, the main difference in the sticking point is as to why the religions don't get along is in Jesus is the son of God in the eyes of Christianity, whereas in the Quran and Islam, he's just a prophet. He's referred to as a prophet. Yeah,
that's fair. But okay, that was because I was gonna say that would have been interesting if it was like if all the pantheon of gods were real and it was just like one guy or whatever, one deity or something who was just masquerading as a bunch of different stuff. Anyways.
Sprinks, you were going to say something?
Yes. Has it been touched on when Ray gets up and leaves the controls, the plane starts like beeping and there's an arrow and he has to get to the cockpit real fast. But when it shows the other plane on their collision course without any pilots, it's just on full cruise.
we're just gonna assume
we talked about the scene, but not that specific.
Yeah.
Well, most planes have like autopilot.
I
But was that
assume
clicked by both
just,
or just one of the pilots before they got blipped?
yeah, maybe they'd be really lucky, but I mean, I wouldn't. It's not an impossibility. It's just very lucky.
Very unlikely, but not impossible.
Yeah.
Like most things in life.
Yeah.
We also talked a bit about the airspeed collision springs. If you want to bring up anything about that in more detail that you noticed.
I think it was a better choice not to show anyone in the other plane because I think that would have made a big tone difference in like disaster. Like the feeling
They did though.
They showed other people in the plane. I thought they just showed the
Yes,
cockpit empty.
there is a shot of them showing the people in the plane looking out the window
Oh, when they
as
fly
the
by.
as no, it's a shot before they collide. Like
I thought that was a Ray's plane.
if it is, the engine's in the wrong place, and that's a continuity error.
A continuity error in this movie? No way.
Yeah.
What
So
happened?
it's a smaller passenger jet, and it showed the plane engines like by the tail.
No, I think
Just
that was. I think them looking at the plane was Ray's plane. I don't think that was the people in the plane, if I'm remembering correctly. But again, that's a fuzzy
again,
recollection.
I'd
Yeah.
have to see it again, but I'm
Yeah.
also leaning towards I think that was Ray's.
Okay. Because I think if it
But if you
showed,
got it up, Ryder.
Yeah, if you got
yeah,
it,
I'll
if you
pull.
can match any of the
I'll s-
faces,
I'll skim it.
we'll
I just think
add some
if
time
it
here.
showed like the inner part of the other plane of like all the people kind of hopeless of just on this path to collide or whatever, it would have given more the feeling that I get from watching like Titanic or War of the Worlds, which I think
Yeah.
would have been a different tone shift, especially with the music they were going around with it, which
Yeah.
real off, and then like this real triumphant Ray, you did it, and then just seeing the plane go down. So I think that the reason and feeling behind that scene was more for like Ray's a good pilot, other than the world is apocalypse.
Other
Sure.
than we saw 200 people die right there and
Yeah.
no one cared.
I mean, come on. What are you really gonna do?
That's pretty good. I guess
Yeah,
while
I don't recognize the passengers that were shown in the windows.
Yeah.
It could be Ray's plane, but it also could be the one they're on a collision course with.
Yeah.
okay,
They probably did that so that it could perfectly
Because it's the reason I assume it's the passengers on the small fighter jet is because we immediately pan through the empty cockpit to the passengers under the same green lighting. So I just assumed because the way it was shot and the way it was lit that it was the passenger plane. But it's technically it can go either way, but I'm still leaning towards that it's the passenger jet.
Okay.
That it's not Ray's plane that we're seeing. It's one shot and you see two people looking out the window. So it's very, very brief, but that's all there is for it.
all right.
Interesting.
Guess another problem I had with the landing part is when they all exit the plane, they're right next to the plane when you're supposed to. Is it 50 yards? I think supposed to be 50 yards away from a crashed plane.
Well, I think that's just Hattie not doing her job.
I don't know. She's been doing her job the whole time. She's been pretty good.
Well, yeah, I mean in this part though,
Is that
because
a
Ray is
a
the last
rule?
one
I
off
don't
the
remember
plane
that.
because he checks the whole cabin to make sure everyone's off.
Yeah, isn't the pilot supposed to be the first one off the plane?
No, pilots
Oh.
must.
At this
Uh,
point, there's
shit.
only 2 people on the plane working.
That's a good, yeah.
Which is weird because we see clearly a fourth flight attendant in a shot that she's just completely forgotten.
Well, you're saying this movie isn't consistent?
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
also with a
I'm willing to say die on that hill.
rough
Yes.
crash landing, and probably a majority of the crew, or not crew, but majority of the passengers being able to see outside their window of explosions and fire, I think it's a good indication. Hey, get away from the plane.
Well, plus it was smoking when they landed.
That's what I have in my notes. I said, why is the coach smoking so much? I meant the coach section of the plane.
That, that
Yeah,
was making
get
sense.
at least 500 feet.
That was the other thing. Yeah,
looked
yeah.
it up.
I don't know why they were still right next to the plane.
It could still blow up or something.
Yeah. It should have blown up when they landed.
Especially when it pans out and shows like Apocalypse Now all around them.
Good reference. Thank
Like
you.
Darkseid is coming in.
Yeah, definitely there is a shot where it looks like the city's on fire. It's Alright.
Yeah.
I think I have to call it here, gentlemen.
All right.
Oh well, in that case, we need your rating.
Now, what's
Yes,
your
you
rating on
do.
this?
My subjective. Okay, I'm happy to watch this the second time because my objective went down. My subjective went up because I found some shit funnier. That it was. It was so bad it was funnier.
Okay.
I think subjective. This is probably a 3 or 4.
So 3.5.
Yeah, somewhere in there. I'll settle with 3.5. Yeah. Objective. I think I've settled on between a 2 and a 2.5. Um,
2.25%.
yeah,
Got it.
the it's even with if God is objectively real,
Yeah.
the rules that we have in the are inconsistent with what we're being played with here with the whole, the phone calls not being weird and not working, the fact that no one is answering his radio calls in the ground tower. There's a lot of weird inconsistencies that just happen to work when they think they have achieved their theme of prayer and desperation. Um, I The characters are barely characters. I do like the acting from a lot of people in this, uh,
Mhm.
and but that's also falls into subjective. I think the plot is very paper thin, which is fine, but I don't think there was enough to warrant the jarring juxtapositions that we have of the different storylines going on. It's very,
Mhm.
very tonal clash that happens constantly. Um, so yeah, between a 2 and a 2.5. I'll settle with a 2 for now. That might change again if for any reason I decide to torture myself with a third watch through. Um, yeah, but yeah, that'll be it for me, gentlemen. Wish you all a great podcast, and
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what you're all gonna rate it. So I will definitely watch the podcast. This
All
one.
right, Toodaloo, Ryder. We will see you next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. See you next time, everybody. Laters.
Later.
Bye. Later.
So,
All right. There. I don't think there's too much actually left to cover, so we might not be here much longer.
No,
Yeah.
Sprinks, I imagine you got more to talk about.
I'm seeing in my notes what else I have to talk. Oh, does it make sense of how the fire started from the fuel leakage on the plane? Does that make sense? Because the fuel was dripping out, but how did it ignite?
Well, I guess it would just take one spark from a wire if
yeah.
they got some wiring damage from the collision. So I don't think it's outside the realms of possibility.
Okay, I was just curious how it started.
But we didn't get to see the extent. But it's possible if the wiring got compromised.
Yeah. The only
Okay.
the only insight we get is from a guy who doesn't understand what planes are. So,
Oh,
so
And
yeah.
the burning of the fuel is a real thing, so that it makes sense that the plane didn't blow up because it was on
no,
fire.
that makes sense. No, I get that because of the speed and everything. Which is, I guess, a nice little touch that it showed the gap of the wing to the fuel to the fire.
Mhm.
I guess just a dumb thing for Chloe. When she got on the bike to go to find the runway or whatever, there was a helmet on the ground. She didn't put it on.
Well, she's Chloe. She doesn't need
Yeah,
no helmet.
maybe she overlooked
Yeah.
it. Who knows? Another one is when I think Ray asks her on the phone, "Are you okay?" And she says, "Yeah, I guess so." After contemplating jumping off of suicide, I went, "No wonder you didn't get blipped. What a lie!"
What-
What a liar. Liars don't get to go.
we didn't really talk about how at least two people were aware of this thing happening, right?
Did
We
only
we
let
had the
two people
mom
and
understand. Yeah.
and Hannah, the other flight attendant that blipped through
Mhm.
her notebook or whatever. Because the co-pilot, he just had. I don't think he knew,
no,
right?
he never
No.
gave
So
any indication that he knew.
yeah, so we had the wife and the flight attendant that blipped.
Oh,
They seem to have known what was happening.
and the pastor, I guess, somewhat.
I don't think he knew when.
He
He
didn't
just
know
knew of
when.
it.
He knew of. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
it seemed the
Because I'm sure
mom.
if he knew when, he would have bettered himself to believe or something.
Before Chloe took Raimi, the mom wanted to talk to her about it. Like she knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, she was trying to warn her without
And she
actually
didn't tell
saying
it.
anything.
Yeah. I love that.
That didn't make any sense to me.
Well,
It's like, I just want you to be prepared, blah, blah, blah. Like,
yeah,
prepared
but
for what?
okay, but if you think your mom is already like a religious nutso and she tells you today everything is going to end today, you have to. Do you really think you'd believe her more if she said it like today is going to be the day?
Depending on her pitch.
I mean, I probably wouldn't believe her more, but I still think she would say it. She didn't say it.
No, she's just like, all right, well, you're taking Raimi. I guess no need to bring him back. I'll find him or something. I don't know.
I'll find him in heaven. Yeah, so that was a bit odd. And how the flight attendant had it scheduled Bible study, I think is what it was written.
Yeah.
In the book, yeah.
Yeah, it's 7:30. So she clearly knew, unless it was just a coincidence that she had Bible study at the exact time they disappeared.
I think that's all
weird.
my notes covered.
Does anybody have any last things? That
I guess it's weird that this movie tried to do jump scares. That was also something.
Yeah, that was an interesting add-on. Don't really know.
Double checking my notes. All right, I guess the last thing I want to bring up is the ending with Hattie, whatever.
Hattie.
Where kind of just her interaction with Nicolas Cage, like, well, yeah, you're my guy. Bye. And then he's like, well, I'm sorry. I'm going to go comfort my daughter now.
He did lie to her for a couple months, I guess.
We don't know how long. Did Hattie know Chloe was his daughter? Did she even? She didn't. She walked away before Ray hugged Chloe, right?
She was just a random girl.
Okay, I'm curious if
she
Hattie
knew her
ever
through name. I don't know
Chloe.
if she knows. Yeah, I don't know if she knows by picture or anything, but
okay,
she knows Chloe by name at least.
Okay, like I didn't know if Hattie saw Chloe and it's like, wow, yeah, I had no chance. Your wife's pretty young and hot. I mean, I don't know what was going through Hattie's head. I mean,
yeah, that would have. She really should have done that.
Totally wouldn't mesh with the feelings they're going with. That would be a interesting take. I guess there's nothing that really refutes that as a possibility. Like that could be headcanon right there.
It's like I don't know. It just seemed if I remember correctly, Hattie saw Ray. They just kind of gave each other a look, and she walked away, and then Ray went to Chloe. So I don't think Hattie ever saw Chloe. So,
unfortunately, now it's not canon.
Yeah, no, it's.
Oh, how could I forget? There was a few times in this, but the one that's most prominent in my mind right now is when Chloe is walking on the bridge before she climbs it. Where are the cars? There's several moments in this where there's no cars on the roads.
Well, and then when
there should be accidents or cars just parked there because the driver's gone. There's no way they towed them all already in less than a day. They all just disappeared.
Well, and then like when she's on the bridge or whatever, and she's gonna, jump or do whatever's hinted at. We don't really know. There's like just cars just like randomly driving by, and I'm like, isn't like the world technically ending? Why are these people out and about?
Why aren't they looting everybody?
That's the thing. There's cars driving by. I remember that.
Yeah,
but then when she gets on the motorcycle, nothing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Little spurts of traffic. So
they didn't have the budget to fill the streets with empty cars. I guess
they couldn't shut down that many roads.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's everything on my side of notes.
I guess I'll end it off with a compliment. I do like. It might be a little fast, but I do like that they did show looting of the vanished people. Specifically in the mall, they're looting the clothes and stuff, not just stores. Yeah. So bit quick, but I like that they at least acknowledged that's a reality that would happen. People just pickpocket the clothes.
Yeah.
I have a
I
question
guess.
Oh.
Oh,
because it wasn't
yes.
really shown,
Uh-huh.
and it could just be a yes or no or whatever. Do you think, because they stated that it was happening worldwide, it wasn't just like in New York or just in the United States,
Worldwide.
the whole world? Do you think, because when Thanos snapped, it was 50%? Do you think it's more or less than 50% of the world's population?
Well, what percentage is Christian, and what percentage of Christians are believers, true believers? Uh, so I'm willing to say definitely less than 50% of the population disappeared. Um,
You also have other religions and things too.
Yeah. Okay, that just makes me think, I guess just a thing for the movie. When the blip occurred, the rioters were immediate. Like, how many people disappeared for really to show? I mean, yeah, pandemonium and problematic and chaos.
At least 35% maybe. 30% maybe.
Okay. I mean, another thing with it is there's, as I said, no security guards, so couldn't really be restrained or detained anyway. So
let's see, I'm looking it up. So there are an estimated 2.3 billion Christians. So that's a little over a quarter of the
and
population.
again, that's with today's numbers, not when the 2013 movie came out, and then this
Uh,
world.
let's see. That was actually 2010 is when that chart was made, so pretty close to it. So about a quarter of the population would be believers, but out of that section, how many are true believers? Which would definitely not be the entirety of the 2.3
That's
billion.
a question for Stanley.
That's a question for Stanley.
Yeah. So
Okay,
less than a quarter of the population
super fans.
is all we know would disappear. Less than a quarter.
All right, well, just a thought.
I'm glad we did the calculations. Now we know.
Well, I mean, I could go deeper. How many Christians are in New York?
No. We don't have to go deeper. Our calculation discussion was already in Living with Yourself. If you want to go listen to that.
All right. Sinister, did you have anything else? Or are you good?
No, I think I'm good.
All right, then we will go to our ratings and summary if you want to summarize. Oh man, I don't want to go first. So as leader, Sinister, you're going first.
Okay, good to know that we have strong leadership here.
Yep.
Well, I will give my rating first, just because I guess I can use it in my summary. I'm giving this one a 2. And that 2 is representative of all the things that are good about this movie that you could make into a different movie. Yeah, I think the biggest, one of the biggest, I think, criticisms you can give to any movie, a good one or a bad one, is if it's boring. And this one was, I think, mostly boring, even when it really shouldn't have been, and even when it had moments where it really shouldn't. I think the pacing was off a good amount of the time. I think the tonality of the movie was off a good amount of the time, and the acting was, I can't even. I don't. Subpar feels too low, but things around it. It was. Some people acted really well. A little below par. Some people acted decently, and some it just seemed like were there getting a check. I'm not going to say who was who in there, but you can fill that in for yourself. Yeah, I mean, it's I already said that there's elements of this that you could use to make something that would be really good, so I have to give them credit for that, and I think there are some fleeting, albeit fleeting moments that they do kind of touch on those elements, but I unfortunately, I think I have to stand by a 2 overall for this movie.
Right there with Christmas of the Cranks then for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think I found Christmas of the Cranks a little bit more interesting, but yeah, I think this falls kind of in a similar thing where I think there's similar issues between both that it's hard to ignore.
Okay. All right. I will go. Before I do, I did look it up. New York, 62% Christians
Okay,
as
so
of
there you go.
2008.
Yeah. So
Potentially 50% in New York, at least. My rating. So I will go subjective first. And this is a 2. Flat 2. Boom. Right there. It's. I covered it pretty early on where it's one of my lowest rated ones. It's so boring. It, I'd rather do homework if I was in school. I would. Most people would want to watch TV instead of do homework. I would do the
You said
opposite.
subjective.
Yeah, subjective. And I agree with Essential said that there are elements to where this could be a good movie conceptually and entertaining because of it. But that is just something we did not get. And you could do those elements with a religious part. It's not necessarily because it's a religious movie. It's boring. It's just how everything was implemented, not engaging whatsoever. Objectively, I was having trouble with this one because there's a through line through the plot at least. Get the
And
plane to land somewhere.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I know sometimes when you are you're figuring out your objective scores, you usually ask a question that might help settle it. Do you have one of those that needs to be helped, or
N- No,
okay?
no.
that does happen sometimes. Um, so through the plot, there's a through line that can be understood at least with the motivations of our main character of Nicolas Cage: land the plane and live. Uh, Chloe was to find her brother, then potentially kill herself, uh, and then try to save her dad. So in that regards, it's okay, but everything pushing that forward was not okay. The hysteria of the mother looking for her daughter, poorly executed. Definitely could have been better. I don't know how she got the gun in the first place. The interactions between the other passengers was lacking. Definitely could have been covered more. I agree with Ryder with what he said with the drug lady and the other guy. It's probably the best moment in the movie, I think. The whole landing part had a lot of issues. I didn't even cover how Chloe managed to clear that entire mile-long runway in a couple minutes. The phone stuff was dumb. The odds of a plane collision in the sky is pretty much zero. Um, Easily avoidable as well, as Ryder pointed out. The acting, I don't think Nicolas Cage was bad. I just didn't think his heart was in it. So I'm going to say a little below par as well overall. And what is? I'm also docking it because it felt like a Lifetime movie. The music felt like Lifetime.
I
It
knew we were
also
gonna get there.
it didn't fit. The filming was not creative, as Sprink said. There was kind of one shot, and it stood out because it was different. So I'm giving it a 3.5, which I think I gave to Jurassic World Dominion. I gave it that as 3 or 3.5. So around that range, 3.5.
Interesting that
Springs.
you and Ryder are flipped.
I guess it is. Yeah.
Something to think of. Okay, for me, let's go
Hopefully, I
with
left some meat on the bone.
that. Well, let's go with subjective first. Boy, the first half hour of this movie is a crawl. There is no conflict or no, as we described, it was kind of like Cranks. There was no family engagement because it kind of felt that way of like family drama. Um, and boy, it was not sustaining. It was yikes. And then the blip happened, and the middle part of the movie occurred, where it was a lot of just questions, accusations, finger pointing, and Chloe in GTA. And then it got to the end of the movie where there was bad reception and a makeshift runway and a plane crash that was successful, and then a panned out shot of the world on fire, and boy, wait 10 years for the next one. That's what occurred. So, unlike Crimson, who had to get up 10 times, I watched it all through the first time, with pauses here and there to get notes in. But it was not that enjoyable, and I don't think I don't need to see this movie ever again. If discussion of like Nick Cage acting or films he's done is ever talked about, this is something I could talk about. So I guess that's a positive, something I could discuss of like one of the bad Nick Cage movies. Um, so overall, subjectively, I'm giving it a 3.5. There we go. So I'm tied with the writer there. Now, objectively, lighting, I don't think the lighting was all too bad. It was a lot of artificial with what was going on in the cockpit and the plane. There was some natural lighting for pretty much all the day of Chloe and the airport and the mall. Um, Even the house had natural lighting. All the windows, the blinds were up, so it wasn't like fluorescent or just kitchen lighting and anything. So I do think the natural lighting element in the movie was pretty good. The day and night cycle was a complete mess. That didn't make sense to me. The boy, the music was not suiting, and I think one could edit the music choices that are in the movie of the score and move them around to put them in places where I think they would fit better in the movie without using different music choices. Um, so I think that would have been better for what they did. Cinematography, uh, oh boy, I want to say maybe 45% of the movie is fine, and the other 50% is jarring. There's shots that stand out or are like experimental, and it's like, oh, nice, but that's the only time they ever used it, and it's like not nice. So that odd. The thriller suspension parts to build tension of like, oh, is the mom in the shower thing throughout the whole house? Okay, but what a payoff! It's a broken Jack in the Box. It reminds me of Blair Witch, but instead of a whole movie, it's just in little snippets. Um,
Interesting.
I like the all the theories on the plane of like what it could be, and Marvin just like shooting them all down, and Marvin never giving his own theory of what's going on. He just kind of goes with the flow of like it's none of these things. So I think him as a character was kind of cool. Good difference to everyone else. I think Buck as a character was he was the most lifetime character to me. He kind of just went with a flow, was very calm, agreeance. He didn't really spark anything, so he's just very mid. Nick Cage, I think it was good acting from Nick Cage. Uh, Thanks to his brother for getting him this movie. I'm curious who they would have gone with if they couldn't get Nick Cage. Leah Thompson, very underutilized. Unfortunately, she was in one scene. So the acting, I think, was pretty decent. The characters themselves all had variety, so I think that was good. What else have I not touched on? Costume design. I mean, he looked like a pilot. I don't know. I'd go with that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That he did.
The set pieces were fine, other than the plane collision. The little, I guess, as Sinister said, there was like a model at one point, maybe the CGI, but the whole cockpit and the plane and the turbulence going all with that all looked good. It was probably a good rig. Um, the plane at the end looked fine. The destruction of the mall and the hospital all looked good sets, so I think the setting was all good. But yeah, and then this whole podcast we've touched about the writing and everything, so you know that.
Yeah.
So objectively, and with what I said in I guess zero episode 0 of what are my touch on things, It's not a good movie, and things could have made it worse. But I am giving it a 4.5.
Whoa. Whoa. All right. It's another bad film under our belts.
Belt.
I guess. Are you guys looking forward to what other potential trash we have around the corner?
What's coming up next is Sinister's a nice pick, and then the big project. So, boy, yeah, I'm excited.
All right. Then I guess, Spriggs, if you want to close us out.
Sure. Thank you for all listening to this season 6, episode 2, number can't recall, of the Cheap Seat Critics podcast. Thank you for listening on Spotify, Samsung, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Castbox Media, a couple others that I forget because I always forget, and I apologize to those who are listening on that platform, and it just does not cross my head. I'm sorry. Oh, YouTube. Duh. If you're listening on YouTube, thanks for watching along. You get all the visual aspects. And leave us a comment, which we touched on at the very beginning, but comments really help build up the community, and we can discuss it in the recaps.
Right.
Crimson signed off.
Oh, I do that?
Well, we go in
Never done that.
order, and we had a geeky writer. If you want me to help.
Okay. As always, there was a geeky writer. I'm Crimson Maroon.
I'm a character called Sinister Boy.
And I'm Sprinks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Toodaloo.